4 people have been injured in a stabbing attack at a synagogue there. Mayor Andy Burnham says police shot the suspect dead within minutes of the attack beginning.
The situation has been dealt with very effectively by those on site and by Greater Manchester Police.
Prime Minister Keir Starmer has left an EU summit early to chair a meeting of the government's emergency committee, saying he's appalled at the attack on this Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
Business on Capitol Hill is at a standstill this Yom Kippur. That means no possible action to end the government shutdown that started yesterday. Call one of hundreds of thousands of federal workers like this one at Johnson Space Center, and you might hear,
I am in furlough status, therefore I am unable to respond to your message at this time.
Union Rep Justin Bautista.
This isn't our first rodeo, but it's still disappointing. It's still frustrating.
Another bit of fallout, no monthly jobs report tomorrow. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics is not going to release this. They've already said that with the shutdown. We've also got an inflation report coming out in 2 weeks. We've also got them not collecting data for future months. And so that really puts at risk the quality of future months.
Passengers on a couple of Delta regional jets got a scare when their planes collided while they were taxiing on a runway at New York's LaGuardia Airport last night. CBS News producer Joey Annunziato was on the flight arriving from Charlotte.
Almost what it sounded like was like a sardine can kind of opening. Like it was like something was being sheared off. And lo and behold, we looked out the right side of the plane and the wing looked like it was almost like off the plane.
The other flight was set to take off for Virginia. A flight attendant was injured. The White House asking top universities to pledge support for President Trump's policies if they want preferential access to federal research funds. Here's Michael Wallace.
The 10-page compact would require the universities to freeze tuition for 5 years, cap enrollment of international students, ban the use of race or sex in admissions and hiring, commit to strict definitions of gender, and abolish departments the White House says punish, belittle, and even spark violence against conservative ideas. The letters were sent to the University of Arizona, Brown, Dartmouth, MIT, Penn, USC, the University of Texas, Vanderbilt, and the University of Virginia.
Store lots of stuff on Snapchat, and you'll have to pay more. The social media platform will ask its most prolific users to pay a monthly sum to ensure their memories feature lives on. Dow futures down 35. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit Progressive.com today.
It is now 6:03, and we've got mostly cloudy skies, 63 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman.
What do we want? Contact! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Contact!
As the IAM Local 837 Boeing machinist strike continues, other unions have come to St. Louis to show their solidarity.
To help in your fight, District Council delegates of District 751 voted 2 days ago to offer a $32,000 strike check.
That's John Holden, the president and directing business representative of District 751 in Seattle. There are 33,000 IAM workers in the state of Washington.
A year ago, we were on strike against Boeing, just like you are today. And just like you, we were fighting for a better standard, higher wages, improved retirement. We worked hard to use the momentum that you and other IAM members across the country gave us something to fight for in your previous contracts.
Holden told the striking machinists he hopes their strike will help them get the same contract as 751 did. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Boeing's chief labor counsel found himself on the hot seat on Capitol Hill over the company's continued labor unrest in St. Louis. Senator Josh Hawley grilled Scott Mayer about their settlement offer in response to a work stoppage in Seattle versus in St. Louis.
What you're offering to my constituents is a fraction of that. And I guess I just don't understand why. I mean, is it that what's different about the folks in Missouri?
It's not a question of difference about the folks in Missouri. It's a question about.
You just said a minute ago, fairness is elusive.
Mayer struggled to respond. His appearance before Hawley's committee was technically because Mayer was nominated by President Trump to serve as a member of the National Labor Relations Board and is pending Senate confirmation.
The work zone on I-70 in the Wentzville area has become a danger zone with multiple crashes in just the last couple of months.
Wright City Alderman Ramiz Hakim says some of the issue is likely speeding and distracted driving.
But there's something unique and challenging happening at our stretch of highway that's causing this many accidents in such a short stint of time. in such a short amount of highway.
Hakeem says the lanes are narrow and there's virtually no shoulder. He says that's especially hazardous for semis. Plus, he says there are no great alternate routes around the interstate, especially for those big trucks. That, he says, is adding to unsafe conditions and huge delays for people in surrounding communities. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
All lanes of I-55 in St. Louis City and County will reopen at the end of winter.
Very exciting to be getting to the end of this.
Jen Wade, St. Louis area engineer with Missouri Department of Transportation, says by March 1st, all lanes should be back open on I-55. 2 bridges didn't get done along with the other 26 that were rehabbed because a contractor damaged girders and they had to be replaced. So now work continues around the Union Pacific Railroad bridges. Crews will be pouring the new deck surface on the Loughborough Bridge early November, even if it gets too cold.
We are expecting to be able to find the right windows to do the work.
Then comes resurfacing on various parts of I-55 and the interchanges.
We will still have paving work to do until the fall of 2026, but that is far less impactful. It goes pretty quickly and you're dropping lanes here and there rather than closing an entire side of the highway.
Again, Wade says all lanes should be back open on I-55 in St. Louis City and County by March 1st. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Business Desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. The developer behind a $1.5 billion redevelopment at the Armory site in Midtown is taking its plans to the public.
The developer is THO Investments. They've scheduled 2 town hall meetings this month for the proposed data center on Prospect Avenue, which the company claims will generate over $200 million in tax revenue for the city. But the project is the first to be judged under new stricter rules for data centers issued by the mayor. The public spoke for 3 hours on this project at a hearing on those regulations.
The fiscal impact of these projects can really be tremendous. And I hope that that's something take into consideration through the course of this project.
Developers are leaving the city. They're going in Kansas City. Our workers are going there because of that.
The developer will have to answer questions from the city about the proposal's impact on jobs and utilities like power bills.
Some people have bills that were $80 that are now $1,000. Yesterday, I talked to a man who said that he turned off his electricity because he could no longer afford the bill. He is charging his phone and is sleeping in his car every single night.
The first developer town hall is Thursday, October 9th on Zoom, then Monday, October 13th at the Sheet Metal Workers Hall on Shoto. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Apparently, people just aren't drinking enough beer. We've got a story on that coming up. Traffic and weather are next at 6:08.
I can fix that if you want.
Single-handedly.
Yeah. Back in a moment.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-458-3124. 800-458-3124. 800-458-3124.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It's 6:10. Roger Brand is off today. Frank Ladd is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, word is that it was a pedestrian struck Highway 70 westbound at Cary. So that has the highway completely shut down now at Grand westbound on Highway 70. You're backed up to the Musial Veterans Bridge, and they're diverting drivers off the highway. Looks like the lane is back open now northbound on 55, ramping onto the Poplar Street Bridge. I've finally seen some vehicles make that ramp headed up to the Poplar from northbound 55. Northbound 55 ramping onto Highway 270 down in South County. Pretty good run there, no delays. Similar story northbound on Highway 270 between 55-44 and Highway 64. Delay-free so far coming in from St. Charles County, headed to St. Louis County. Our next traffic update at 6:20. I'm Frank Ladd at the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It'll be quite warm again today with sunshine at some clouds and a high of 89. Clear, warm tonight, down to 62 in some of the cooler suburbs, 68 downtown at the Arch. Mostly sunny and quite warm tomorrow with a high close to 90. Saturday and Sunday, more the same. Sunny and very warm, the high both days 88. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Mostly cloudy now and 63 degrees downtown.
It's now 6:11, and St. Louis County Executive Sam Page proposed budget is now in the hands of county council members. He sent it to them yesterday. Page's plan cuts spending by more than 8%, though that still isn't enough to balance the budget, which comes in with a $60 million deficit. He's hoping to balance it with NFL funds in the interim and an online sales tax in the long term. Budget Committee Chair, Councilwoman Shalonda Webb, is telling her colleagues to bone up on the numbers so they can ask informed questions during upcoming hearings.
Being familiar with those departments and coming in with those questions ahead of time will help us be better prepared. We don't want to have these 2-hour meetings anymore for budgeting.
Some certainty coming for St. Louis County municipalities. We've been reporting on the struggles in cities across the county on setting their property tax rates for next year, not knowing how many seniors are getting their property taxes frozen. County Executive Page had an update.
We received more than 80,000 applications. And next week, I expect a better sense of how many of these applications were finally completed.
For seniors who missed the deadline to sign up this year, you can apply for next year starting November 1st.
St. Charles City and County have found a mutually beneficial way to expand space for operations. The city is building a brand new city hall, an $85 million complex approved by voters last year. The county would take over the old city hall and invest up to $18 million to renovate the building to be used as extra courthouse space. According to the Business Journal, the county will also contribute more than $4 million in transportation funds to extend Main Street for the city's city center complex and more than $7 million for roads to River Point, a $350 million riverfront development.
General Mills is closing its pizza crust plant in St. Charles. That plant on Millstone Parkway was acquired by the company just 3 years ago after its previous owner had planned to create more than 100 jobs at the site. The closure is part of a restructuring, which also includes shutting down 2 of the company's pet food facilities in Joplin. General Mills says it's all a part of a cost-cutting effort.
The local breweries closing. 2 more have plans to close. Arch Nemesis Brewing at the district in Chesterfield, closing its tasting room at the end of November, but leaving open the possibility of reopening elsewhere in the future. Steampunk Brew Works in Town and Country, a tap room and home brew supply store, will also be closing. According to the Business Journal, owner Dave Deaton is planning to retire. That makes at least 6 breweries and tap rooms to close this year, reflecting a national trend of struggling craft breweries. Sales and demand are down.
Starting next year, you can fly directly from St. Louis to one of the most popular cities in Western Europe. I'm Sean Malone. I'll tell you which one coming up.
We'll have more on that coming up at the bottom of the hour. And by the way, the weather was sponsored for you by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
So before we get to the baseball postseason scores, let's talk Cardinals for a minute. How do the Cardinals win long term? Here is President of Baseball Operations, Chaim Bloom.
We have to be elite at acquiring and developing baseball talent in every aspect.
That means our process in both the domestic amateur draft and the international amateur system. That means how we assess and value players in other organizations, and our own players too. It means how we develop our players physically, how we teach them the game, how we train them in the gym and on the field, how we take care of them in the training room, how we feed them, how we help them stay sharp mentally. It means how we coach at the big league level, how we get the most out of our major league players. It means how we prepare and game plan every night, how we hire and develop our staff. And it means how we leverage information in every area and how we innovate.
And he is going to go forward in 2026 with manager Ollie Marmol by his side. He talked to John Rooney extensively about that, and we will play some of that for you coming up at 6:45. Meanwhile, former Cardinal Albert Pujols is in the running for the Angels job. It was reported by multiple outlets yesterday that he is the front runner for that position. Ron Washington was dismissed yesterday. Brian Snitker has stepped away as longtime manager and part of the Atlanta Braves organization. He's been with them for about 50 years, 49th year this past year. Snitker is 69 years old and is ready to step aside. The Braves dealt with a number of injuries this past year. They are an organization, one of 8, looking for a new manager. Some on an interim basis are going to be let go, and a number of clubs are going to be looking around for managers. As for the baseball postseason scores yesterday, one team has wrapped it up. The Los Angeles Dodgers, they beat the Reds. Final score last night was 8-4. The Dodgers scored 18 runs in 2 games, dismissing Cincinnati. The Reds haven't won a playoff series since 1995. The Red Sox beat the Yankees in game 1, but yesterday the Yankees got them back 4-3 at Yankee Stadium. So that series goes to tonight to determine who moves on to take on the Blue Jays. 7:08 start tonight. The other American League series goes the distance. The Guardians beat the Tigers 6-1, and the Padres topped the Cubs 3-0. That series goes to a game 3 this afternoon at Wrigley Field. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's coming. I cannot wait. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to Missouri December 1st, and you will be able to bet on all your favorite teams and all your favorite sports. Couldn't happen at a better time of the year. You got pro and college football, basketball, you've got hockey. It's all going on. And with FanDuel, all kinds of ways to get in on the action. You could bet the money line, over under, bet the spread. You could even bet the futures. How about MVP or who's going to win the championship or just make it to the playoffs? All of that is there for you to bet with FanDuel. Plus, with live betting, you can even pick which player is going to score the next touchdown and the touchdown after that. I love to live bet when the game is happening. It's a lot of fun. And with the downloaded FanDuel app on your phone, you can do it now and get used to it because the app is going to be available to use live in Missouri in December. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, play your game. 21 and over, present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The Gervais Syndrome Foundation is proud to share tremendous success at the Dance for Gervais held this past Friday at the Third Degree Glass Factory here in St. Louis, a special event hosted in honor of Anna Odlog, who courageously lives with Gervais syndrome and its many challenges. This event not only raised a record-breaking amount in support of the foundation's mission, but also elevated awareness of the urgent need for continued research and resources for affected families. We raised $900,000 in this event on Friday night. $900,000. That is a record. Jim Brennan, president of McKelvey Homes, said we are overwhelmed with gratitude for the generosity of St. Louis, setting a record with over $900,000 raised, leading the nation in fundraising events benefiting Gervais Syndrome Foundation. Jim is the president of McKelvey Homes and has been behind this. They are the title sponsor of Dance for Gervais. Visit them online at McKelveyHomes.com. That's McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:20. This is Total Information AM. Debbie Monterey, along with Tom Ackerman and Frank Ladd, joining us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Highway 70 westbound is jammed completely now between the Mutual Veterans Bridge and just west of the McKinley Bridge, where they're ramping you off the highway and back on the highway around a fatal pedestrian accident, Highway 70 at Cary. So that's 70 westbound, headed out of north downtown, headed out towards Cary. It's a solid jam now from the Mutual Veterans Bridge out to the McKinley Bridge and then off and back on the highway. A little heavier now northbound on Highway 55, ramping onto Highway 270 now. Northbound 270 drivers are seeing a pretty good run now between 55-44 and Highway 64. We are delay-free up in North County, east and westbound on Highway 270 from the Chain of Rocks Bridge to the Interbelt. Our next traffic update at 6:30, Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by your local Lennox Premier dealer, Scott Lee Heating.
Scott Lee Heating's Premier Dealer distinction means you'll be working with the best the industry offers. Learn more about our special savings opportunities on Lennox products by calling 314-756-9444 or visit us online at scottleeheating.com.
Weather forecast from Joe Lundberg. Sunshine and some clouds. Very warm this afternoon. A high of 89. Clear and warm. Lows ranging in the low 60s in the coolest suburbs to about 68 downtown at the Arch tonight. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. Very warm again. A high near 90. Highs both days over the weekend, 88 degrees. Currently, it's 63 downtown.
The news continues at 6:21. Today is day 2 of the government shutdown on Capitol Hill, both sides blaming each other. Wednesday, there was another vote in the Senate, and it was exactly like the one Tuesday.
Right here, Mr. President. It's in front of us, right here. We can pass this today. Pass it right now. All we have to do, get support from the Democrats. House has passed it. This is the House passed bill. We take it up in the Senate, pass it, send it to the President. President signs it into law, and the government stays funded.
A Senate vote to end the government shutdown hours after it began has failed.
On this vote, the yeas are 55 and the nays are 45. 3/5 of the Senate duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmation. The motion is not agreed to.
Both sides are holding firm, with Democrats insisting on funding for health care subsidies and Republicans refusing.
A lot of good can come down from shutdowns. We can get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want, and they'd be Democrat things. When you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected, and the Democrats, they're going to be Democrats.
The blame game is in full effect, with both sides saying the other caused the shutdown.
Everybody's now asking the question, how does this end? Well, it ends when the Senate Democrats pick this bill up, passed by the House of Representatives, and vote for it.
The way out of this is for Republicans to finally roll up their sleeves and get to work.
Top Senate leaders John Thune and Chuck Schumer at the White House.
I actually don't think it's going to be that long of a shutdown.
Vice President J.D. Vance says some Democrats have already flipped sides, but at least 5 more have to sign on. And if the shutdown drags on,
let's be honest, if this thing drags on for another few days or God forbid another few weeks, we are going to have to lay people off. We're going to have to save money in some places so the essential services don't get turned off in other places.
Roughly 750,000 federal workers are expected to be furloughed, some potentially fired. For now, the shutdown's immediate impacts are being felt at places like Acadia National Park in Maine, which is largely shut down. Visitor Jim Feathers frustrated with Congress.
Their job is to pass a budget, and if they're not doing their job, what are they doing down there?
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Congressman Wesley Bell joined the Chris and Amy show from D.C. He puts the blame squarely on the Republican Party.
I try to work across the aisle as much as I can to try to get things done from my district, but in this case, Republicans have refused to just sit down and work with us.
As the federal government shutdown gets underway, Illinois Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski sending a letter to the chief administrative officer of the House of Representatives asking that she not be paid until the government reopens for business, saying lawmakers shouldn't get a paycheck when their own dysfunction is keeping other federal employees from getting theirs. Budzinski calls the situation in Washington unacceptable.
How could a governmental shutdown impact St. Louis's tornado recovery?
Mayor Kara Spencer says city services and FEMA's individual payments will not be impacted by the governmental shutdown. However, the debris removal is another story.
Debris removal, cleanup, and other things and other aspects of the tornado recovery that are being funded through federal dollars. We have concerns.
Mayor Spencer does add that as things currently stand, she is confident they will be able to move forward with their plans. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
County Executive Sam Page worried about a prolonged federal government shutdown that could hurt federal employees who live in St. Louis County. A more specific fear, how a prolonged shutdown could impact RECA applications.
People who are coming to St. Louis County and asking for documents for themselves and their family members to fill out their RECA applications, but those need to be processed by the federal government.
County Executive Page says so far things are business as usual in county offices.
A Cole County judge is weighing whether to dismiss a lawsuit that seeks to overturn a state law giving tax breaks to the Kansas City Royals and Chiefs to help fund stadium upgrades.
State Representative Ron Wolfen and State Senator Mike Moon, both Republicans, are suing over the new law, claiming it violates the state constitution because it also includes limits on property tax increases and tax credits for natural disaster victims. Ron Calzone is one of the attorneys representing Moon and Wolfen.
One of the things people don't understand is that Senate Bill 3 is not just about funding the stadiums. It expressly says that taxpayer subsidies can be used to fund the headquarters of these sports franchises, privately owned headquarters, privately owned training facilities. And that is forbidden expressly in the Missouri Constitution as well.
The state, meanwhile, says Wolfen and Moon don't have legal standing to challenge the law. Only the Speaker of the Missouri House and President Pro Tem of the Senate have that authority. Judge Christopher Limbaugh is expected to rule in the next 30 days on whether that suit can go forward.
It's 6:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning and Electrical.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
If you are ready for retirement, well, congratulations. For the rest of us, we're still working on getting there and hoping that we have everything in place. I'll tell you, it really does help to speak to somebody who knows. I would highly recommend that you work with a retirement specialist, and I'm going to highly recommend Sachs Financial. Sachs Financial, SACHS, they are at retiresafestl.com. And just recently, Jeff Sachs and his team had a free seminar about Social Security, because Jeff says that really is like your pension, and how is it going to pay out for you? I didn't really know that there were different options, but it could be a matter of as much as $100,000 one way or the other, depending on when you take it and how you take it. So go to retiresafestl.com/guide. And there'll be a lot of information there for you about Social Security and making sure that you're doing things right to have what you need today, but have what you want in retirement. And then, by all means, give them a call or stop by. Just sit down and have them look over what you're doing and make adjustments if necessary. Things like insurance and taxes and all of the things in your portfolio that are going to make a big difference, including Social Security. So go to retiresafestl.com/guide for Sachs Financial.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Rally House, shop every team in town. College and pro, come on, it's time to go.
Mizzou fans, don't miss out. Rally House Chesterfield is hosting Kevin Coleman Jr. Friday, October 3rd from 4 to 5 p.m.
Cardinals, Blues, Missouri State, Tigers, Billikens, don't be late. Rally House, Rally House. It's your city, it's your house, it's a Rally House.
Level up your fandom in-store or online at rallyhouse.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
It is 6:30, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got cloudy skies, 62 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Frank Ladd's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Tom, we have a new crash now. It's northbound on 55 north of Butler Hill. 3 left lanes are getting by there. They just called out for additional tow vehicles to get the multi-vehicle accident out of the way. It's northbound Highway 55 north of Butler Hill. I can see the exit sign for Highway 270 there in the distance. So you're going to come around this accident and then head towards Highway 270. Also dealing with that highway closure at 70 westbound just at Cary, just west of Adelaide. That has you backed up all the way to the Musial Veterans Bridge on Highway 70 westbound. Is a fatal pedestrian accident there. So they're going to be on the highway for a little while for accident reconstruction. The highway closed 70 westbound just west of Adelaide. Our next traffic update at 6:40. Frank Ladd, the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be just hot and summery until further notice. No cool down, at least through Monday. We're looking today at sunshine with some clouds and a high of 89 degrees. Tomorrow near 90. It's 62 out there right now.
St. Louisans can now fly directly to one of the most popular European destinations.
British Airways will soon begin direct flights from Lambert Airport to London. Ambassador Kevin O'Malley with the St. Louis Port Authority says they are providing incentives to help make this new route possible.
The Port Authority has agreed over the first 2.5 years of this agreement with British Airways to incentivize the flights with the total of $4,500,000.
The flights begin in April and will be seasonal to start, with the hopes demand is high enough to justify going year-round. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Could there be a spillover effect? Remember, British Airways and American Airlines are partners, both in the One World Alliance. So could American add flights to feed into the London flight?
No, it really is going to be people coming to and from a region served by Lambert. So it's not something where American is going to put any kind of feed traffic there. That's just not in their DNA.
Airline consultant Mike Boyd says neither British Airways nor Lufthansa would add their flights if outside customers were required. Most of those seats, he says, would be filled by people from the region.
What did it take to get the prestigious British Airways to St. Louis?
There's other regions offering a lot of money to the table for these airlines to come into their markets. I think we had not had that partnership.
But then Lambert director Rhonda Homdenbrugge says a group came together to attract Lufthansa to Germany with a pot of money that would be there to pay for the fuel in case tickets didn't sell. But the tickets did sell, and Lufthansa is now flying more without a promise of subsidy. British Airways is starting off with a revenue guarantee too, but Homdenbrugge thinks the only limit to BA's growth here is congestion there.
Heathrow is a slot-controlled airport, so the slot that's open right now is kind of considered the IATA summer season. That's April 16th through the end of October. So it's running past the summer. They call it the IATA summer season, which is just an industry term, but that's the slot that's open.
A big part of this, beyond traffic to London, are those going on to Dublin or Paris. They can do all the custom stuff here at home at Lambert instead of like in Atlanta and make their connection at Heathrow. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
We'll check traffic and weather in 7 minutes. Coming up next, your money report. News sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts. michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 6:34.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. That's right, weight loss seminar at the Marriott St. Louis West in St. Louis at 11 a.m. Registration 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m.
This is Tom Becker with Climate Masters. We don't just sell air conditioners, we sell comfort. We sell solutions. We sell a job well done, and we fix bad jobs. Climate Masters, because you need someone you can trust. Someone who earns your respect and 5-star reviews. Climate Masters, selling high-quality Carrier air conditioners. Turn to the experts. Climate Masters, quality work for over 40 years. Just type in Climate Masters and give us a call.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-384-9393. That's 800-384-9393.
It is 6:35, and that means it's time for your money report, which is sponsored by Eamon Gentner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Apple has decided to pause its planned overhaul of its Vision Pro headset to focus on developing two types of smart glasses to rival Meta products. One of the smart glasses will pair with an iPhone, but will lack its own display, while the other will feature a display that can challenge Meta's Ray-Ban display. Smart glasses have become a critical component for tech companies who are developing AI-centric devices. Bankrupt automotive parts supplier First Brand has been provided with $4.4 billion of rescue funding by a group of lenders to save the company from imploding. An independent board committee is investigating the company's use of off-balance sheet financing that has roiled its creditors. Goldman Sachs is predicting that gold prices could rally even higher than its own forecast of nearly $5,000 an ounce due to interest from private investors. Gold is currently up 12% from just August 29th and was trading at $3,865 an ounce today. I'm Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
We know you're uncertain about psychics. Is this fortune teller you found on a forum legit?
Your one true love is...
me! That's why California Psychics reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Get insights on the go. Download the California Psychics app today.
This is Kyle Bush with Krentz Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. How many times have you changed jobs over the years? If you're like many professionals, you may have left behind one or more 401ks. Unwatched, unmanaged, and potentially your largest retirement asset. Just because it's out of sight doesn't mean it should be out of mind. Let's make sure it's working as hard for your future as you are. Your goals, our mission, start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Servicing. Member FINRA/SIPC. Krentz Financial Group is not a broker-dealer.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
Fridays mean football. From the zoo to the NFL, we've got your weekend covered.
On three, ready?
It's Friday football on KMOX.
It is 6:39. KMOX told you yesterday about the new bike lanes and crosswalks planned for Tucker Boulevard in downtown St. Louis. What do those who actually bike the city think?
What I really like about it is that it's going to connect more neighborhoods. I feel like that's been one of the biggest issues for a lot of the residents.
So I would say in my situation, my wife prefers I don't bike all the way downtown. There's a portion of my trip which will be eventually connected along the Harris Stowe route that right now is not exactly the safest. I mean, your choices are Olive, Market.
Seeing the improvements slowly roll out over time gives me hope for this city in terms of improvements for getting around in a healthier lifestyle.
If you are planning to drive west on I-70 this weekend, MoDOT is warning you to expect major delays in Columbia starting at 7 p.m. Friday. One eastbound lane of 70 will be closed around the clock between Range Line and Highway 63. State officials say the lane will not reopen until Monday morning. They're asking drivers to figure out another route. That closure is for ongoing work on the massive project to add a third lane to I-70. It is 6:40, and speaking of the roadways and potential closures or problems, let's check in with Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Debbie, 55 northbound drivers are backed up from about Merrimack Bottom, maybe a little south of there, up to Butler Hill. An accident just north of Butler Hill has the right lanes blocked, just the three left lanes getting by. You can get by those to ramp onto Highway 270 northbound. North of there, you've got your normal heavier pocket into the work zone. Our other really bad situation is westbound Highway 70. The highway is shut down at Grand, and drivers are being diverted off the highway there, all due to a pedestrian fatality injury accident at Cary. So westbound Highway 70 out of downtown St. Louis is stop and go, jammed now from just before the Mutual Veterans Bridge, headed out to the accident scene. We're also seeing some delays on the Mutual Veterans Bridge, westbound Highway 70, coming into the downtown area, headed into St. Louis. Northbound on 270 this morning, not bad, north of 55 up to 44. You're on the brakes in a slower stretch now between Doherty Ferry and Manchester Road, and then headed up towards Highway 64. Our next traffic update at 6:50. Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Service you can see, experts you can trust. At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we perform an 18-point maintenance check with every oil change to help make sure you're good to go.
And?
You're good to go. We'd let you know if we found something in our check. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Thorough and honest, come with no charge.
6:42, time for us to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. And if people are enjoying summer weather, then they'll be happy with what you have to tell us next.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this forecast is great if you're a summer weather fan, because we've got summer warmth today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday before the next front arrives on Tuesday. Sunshine mixed with some clouds today up to 89, then tonight should be clear. Low 60s in the coolest outlying areas, upper 60s downtown at the Arch. Sun-filled skies tomorrow to wrap up the work week. Temperatures could top off around 90. And we'll be pretty close on Saturday and Sunday. Mostly sunny, high both days in the upper 80s. Not quite to records, but it's still going to feel toasty nonetheless. Warm and a bit more humid on Monday with sun and clouds and a high of 88. That front moves in Tuesday. Maybe there's some shower or thunderstorm activity with it. 63 at St. Peter's, 65 in Florissant, partly cloudy, 68 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right. Thank you, Joe. It is now 6:43. 10 weeks into their strike, IAM Local 837 Boeing machinists are demanding the same contract their Seattle counterparts received, while Boeing is rejecting the union's pre-ratified proposal as a political stunt.
Jody Bennett is IAM's resident general vice president.
What they've given to 751 set the expectations. They said, we're giving you false expectations. No, we're not. The expectations were set in a bargaining session that was done by DBR John Holden, our brothers and sisters at 751 that stood strong against corporate greed a year ago. They set the tone for the negotiation, not us. But what you guys have done is you've proven through your strength and through your skills and through your labor in the past and providing defense systems that are bar none the best in the world. You've proven your worth.
Manson Graves is a munitions mechanic at the Boeing facility in St. Charles, and he tells KMOX he gave all his rewards back to Boeing's Dan Gillian because he says they have no meaning if the company does not believe he's worth more money.
It means nothing. We're dedicated, hardworking, skilled people. We're here doing this job.
one thing I did and I do want to say, while he's stalling, Gilliam, while Boeing is stalling this contract, our nation's security is at risk. A couple of weeks ago, I don't know if you're made aware of, our guys had to escort 2 Russian bombers off the coast of Alaska up there. Those jets were made here. The arms from those jets was made here. About a year ago, nuclear sub of Russia was off the coast of Florida. Well, that Harpoon missile, it's made here. It's made here. The Iran tour that those guys just did a couple of months ago, that MOP, we made that there. We make all of this here. It's important. He's not only putting our jobs at risk, he's putting the nation's security at risk. The men and women of our armed forces, they're depending on us too.
How many years you been with Boeing?
I'll be with Boeing 4. I've been with them 4. And I'm staying. I'm going to keep fighting for us all. You know, it's not a my thing, it's our thing. And I think it needs to be known that while they're sitting there playing around with this, there's a lot at stake and at risk. First of all, home, with those 2 factors I just given you, our men and women that depend on our planes and our munitions, they counting on us. So it's a lot more that at risk than just a paycheck.
I'm curious, when you brought back all the medals and gave them to them and the rewards, what did they say?
Oh, what did Boeing say? No, I gave them back to him today to give to Gillian today. I don't want them anymore. I put that hard work in because I'm proud of what I do. I believe in what I do. I believe in my coworkers. We believe in it. Literally it's for nothing. It's for show. But that shouldn't dictate nor hold back why we shouldn't be compensated fairly. That's what this is all about.
That's Maria Kina reporting.
Let's talk some baseball and get into it with John Rooney and Chaim Bloom. Bloom really likes Ollie Marmol. They've had a good relationship. He is retaining the manager for 2026. And eyewitnesses in the dugout have noticed the same.
The last Friday of the season in Chicago, a game where the Cubs scored 12 runs. But he said, Ollie, the other coaches kept teaching. They kept coaching. They kept going through moments in the game, bringing up things to each player that they spoke with, and they did not give up. There was no mailing it in all the way through. And that's something I observed from up there in the booth. Everybody worked hard. Everybody got into the batter's box looking to give a good at-bat each time they were in there. How did you see it?
Yeah, I see it the same way. I mean, look, there's plenty of things at all levels of this organization that I've tried to observe where I think there's room for us to take steps forward, areas that I want to push people, areas where I think I can help. Work ethic and care, not an issue. We have that in spades. You know, everybody really does not give up. They push, you know, they work till the last out, till the last game. That part is really, really impressive. I think, you know, I'm actually really happy about that I don't think there's people in here that I need to light a fire under or any of that. I think it's more about how do I help harness that, build systems around it so that we can be more purposeful, more organized, create more accountability around how we're doing these things and how that effort is manifesting. But man, we got a group of people here who really care about what they're doing. They take pride in this. They see getting to wear that uniform every day as the privilege that it is, and they don't take that lightly.
That includes Ollie Marmol, who is keeping his manager. Albert Pujols, meanwhile, reportedly the front runner for the Angels job. And there are a number of jobs open. Most recently, Atlanta announcing that Brian Snitker is stepping down. They had a bit of a celebration as Snitker was the world champion in 2021, longtime part of the Braves organization. His mentor was Bobby Cox. The National League, seeing the Padres beat the Cubs yesterday at Wrigley Field 3-0. So the winner-take-all Game 3 is this afternoon at 4:08 at Wrigley. In the other National League series, the Dodgers ripped the Reds 8-4, eliminating Cincinnati. Reds haven't won a playoff series since 1995. Yankees stayed alive, beating the Red Sox 4-3. Game 3 is tonight. The first game of the day will be at 2:08, Guardians-Tigers. Cleveland won it 6-1 yesterday. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Looking for a place to call home without all the maintenance? Check out the Towns of Linneman Park, new townhomes by Lombardo, located in St. Peters. These new construction townhomes are located on the south side of 36494, east of Harvester Road, and offer floor plans featuring 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a loft, and 2-car attached garages. Community amenities include a clubhouse, pool, pickleball courts, dog park, and walking trails. Tour our newly decorated display and fall in love with your new townhome. Visit lombardohomes.com for more information.
Underdog, the best app when it comes to football. You can win. You can win big. I love playing Underdog. I'm going to play it tonight. So the Thursday night game is 49ers Rams. And it's in LA, by the way, which means it'll be like a 49ers home game. But anyway, I'm looking at this thing. They have a pack called Thursday Night Tutties. James, when did they start calling touchdowns tutties? I don't like that, but I like the pack very much. Christian McCaffrey, Kyron Williams, Devontae Adams. Basically, what you're saying there is that each of them is going to score a touchdown. You win 15 times your money, according to this app, if you do that one. I like that a lot. I'm gonna do that. Maybe you will as well. You need to download the Underdog app to see it, though. Underdog is easy to play. You can win up to 5,000 times your cash right here in Missouri. Download the app. Use promo code TOM. Score $100 in bonus funds or entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TOM. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Red Kingdom is back at FanDuel Sports Network Live in Ballpark Village. See every game on the largest screen in town. Don't forget about the $25 buckets, $5 cocktails, and the best tailgate food around. Grab your friends along with KMOX and huddle up for the games at the best watch party in town. If you can't make it, but don't want to miss it down, listen to the Chiefs on KMOX or KMOX on the Odyssey app. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is time for us to go to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center and get the latest from Frank Ladd.
Westbound Highway 70 remains closed at Grand due to a fatal pedestrian accident there. You're backed up to the depressed section now, westbound on Highway 70, as drivers are diverted off and on the highway there at Grand. Headed northbound on 55, you're stop and go now from the Arnold area, Highway 141, all the way up to an accident north of Butler Hill. The 3 right lanes are blocked there. And a new accident in the Metro East, and it's southbound on Highway 55 between the East Bridge split and Route 3. That has you backed up to the Highway 64 merge. Our next traffic update at 6:58. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Going to be a hot one today, high 89. Cooler tonight, low 68 downtown, high near 90 tomorrow. Currently, it's 65 and mostly cloudy at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:52. They're rolling out the red carpet tonight at Powell Hall for the world premiere of Soul on Fire, the story of John O'Leary. John was badly burned as a boy and not expected to live until Jack Buck began stopping by the hospital every day, bribing him with signed baseballs to keep him fighting. O'Leary is a motivational speaker, author, and podcaster.
A woman came up named Linda and said, "Have you ever thought about turning your story into a film?" And as a practical St. Louis, and I said no. And she said, "Would you consider it?" And the response to opportunity in life is yes. So I said, "Yeah, I'd consider it."
The movie's director, Sean McNamara, explains why he wanted to be part of it.
Because we all don't necessarily face the sort of tragedy that he faced, but we all have to get up every morning and face our own lives, and it's really challenging. So I like those books like in the 80s or 90s, Chicken Soup for the Soul, where you would read these chapters and it was like it would move you somehow. And this, when I read the script, it moved me emotionally.
Actress Macy McLean plays O'Leary's girlfriend turned wife, Beth.
When I got the script, I was floored.
I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I would potentially get to be a part of telling this story of just inspiring people that we all are broken. Every single one of us, we all have scars, whether they're physical or whether they're emotional, spiritual. We've all got them, but we also all have the power to choose.
The movie was filmed in St. Louis. Soul on Fire will be released nationwide October 10th.
Jane Goodall, the renowned conservationist who shaped the world's knowledge of chimpanzees, has died.
Born in London on April 3rd, 1934, Jane Goodall grew up during an era with much different expectations for girls.
No intention of being a scientist because girls didn't do that sort of thing.
But by 2022, she would receive her own doll as part of the Barbie Inspiring Women series.
When I heard that Jane Barbie doll was going to be made, I was really happy because actually I've been suggesting it for a long time that girls don't want just to be film stars and things like that, but many of them, like me, want to be out in nature studying animals.
The Jane Goodall Institute says she died of natural causes while on a speaking tour in California at the age of 91. Matt Piper, CBS News.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Celebrating a birthday today. Sting. He is 74 today, believe it or not. Former lead singer of the Police, of course. Long been established as a solo star.
Local celebrity birthdays are sponsored for you by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Lane Wilhelm, Dennis Gonzalez, Mary Ann Papachel. Also, Ricky Penson is celebrating today, Brandon Sims from your DJ friends. And happy birthday to Hannah Gibbs, and our very own Megan Lynch is having a birthday today.
This is the best birthday ever.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Ooma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
The Musial Awards celebrates its 20th year on Saturday, November 22nd at Stiefel Theater. You can be in the audience for this nationally televised event hosted right here in St. Louis. It's a night to be entertained and inspired. Tickets at MusealAwards.com.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. You really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with Truehold. With Truehold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's Truehold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. Truehold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit Truehold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Let's go back to Frank Ladd, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're stop and go into downtown St. Louis, westbound 5564 from the Highway 70 merge. Westbound Highway 70 headed toward the 64 merge is heavy as well from 203, all due to an accident just past the Eads Bridge. You've got a couple lanes blocked there, so it's a slow go into downtown. Out of downtown, westbound on Highway 70, we've got this closure due to a fatal pedestrian accident at Cary. That has westbound Highway 70 drivers being ramped off the highway at Grand. You're backed up to the depressed section. And northbound 55 is a stop and go stretch now from Arnold up to Butler Hill. The right 3 lanes are blocked due to a crash there. Our next traffic update at 7:10. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Thursday, October 2nd. I'm Debbie Monterey.
At an hours-long hearing about data centers, concerns about the impact on your electric bill.
Some people have bills that were $80 that are now $1,000.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Tom Ackerman.
MoDOT says you can mark your calendars for when all lanes of I-55 will be reopened in St. Louis City and County. I'm Stuart McMillan, and I'll have that story.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A very warm day today with sunshine and some clouds. Our high 89.
Winner of the National Edward R. Murrow Award for breaking news. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's 7 o'clock.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We begin in the UK, where officials say 2 people have been killed in an attack outside a synagogue this Yom Kippur. 3 are in critical condition. The attacker shot dead by police.
They've killed him, this onlooker says, moments after Manchester police reached the synagogue where a man had begun a stabbing spree. This delivery driver saw it happen.
They gave him a couple of warnings. He didn't listen, so they opened fire. He went down on the floor. And then he started getting back up, and then they shot him again.
Congregants attending Yom Kippur services were first locked down inside the synagogue, then evacuated. Police say 2 of the wounded have died. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
King Charles says he is deeply shocked and saddened by the attack. Here in the U.S., Democrats and Republicans remain far apart on the second day of a government shutdown.
Competing Senate bills to fund the government failed again yesterday. More votes are scheduled for tomorrow. The White House says widespread layoffs could begin within 2 days. As its agents work without pay, the TSA warned of longer wait times at airports, but it was smooth sailing for this traveler in Austin, Texas.
I did go a little earlier, just thinking that the lines might have been a little longer.
Some attractions in Washington are still accepting visitors.
We have found that a lot of the museums are open, so we're going to still do some of the museums.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A scare on the tarmac at New York's LaGuardia Airport. 2 of Delta's regional jets crashed into each other, injuring a flight attendant. CBS News producer Joey Nunziato was on a flight that had just arrived from Charlotte.
It was like a pretty violent collision. At the time, we didn't really know kind of what we hit, but what it sounded like was like a sardine can kind of opening.
He captured footage of how the wing of one plane hit the windshield and nose of the other. Delta says it will review the incident. Royal Caribbean's Serenade of the Seas docked in Miami this morning after more than 100 people on board came down with the norovirus, a contagious stomach infection, while they were on a voyage through Central America and the Caribbean. Bob Pettit was among them. He tells CBS News.
I got violently sick, and I couldn't make it to the bathroom even.
It is the 19th outbreak of a gastrointestinal illness on a cruise ship this year. It was a good night to be an LA fan.
Great game. We loved it. Oh, my God. It was awesome. Way to go, Dodgers.
Excitement outside the stadium after the Dodgers beat the Reds 8-4 to sweep their National League Wild Card Series and move on to the Division Series against the Phillies. In the AL, Yankees stay alive with a 4-3 win over the Red Sox in Game 2. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
It is now 7:04. We've got cloudy skies, 62 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman.
If you scab with this employer, you scab on this union. That is a mark you will have on your entire working career.
IAM Local 837 leaders and other unions, some from out of state, rallied striking Boeing machinists, encouraging them to stay strong.
But there appears to be no end in sight to the strike that started August 4th. AFL-CIO President Liz Schuler.
What you are building for this country, the sacrifices you make to make sure that our military is safe.
Manson Graves is a munitions mechanic at Boeing facility in St. Charles, and he tells KMOX he gave all his rewards back.
Israel, they were over here visiting our plant out here because they were getting arms from us. One of the generals gave me a point medallion. I brought that back and gave it to him. Told him, take it together.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
What do we want?
And on the strike, Boeing's chief labor counsel gets an earful from Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, who laid out what striking machinists in Washington state were offered a few years ago and asked why St. Louis machinists aren't getting the same deal.
Why wouldn't you just do that for the folks in St. Louis?
Senator, every negotiation is different.
Boeing Scott Mayer appeared before Hawley's Senate committee for confirmation of his nomination by President Trump to the National Labor Relations Board.
Wrecks in the work zone on I-70 near Warrenton and Wright City have local officials worried.
The lanes have become tighter. The shoulders have become to be almost non-existent.
Wright City Alderman Ramiz Hakim.
As drivers and truckers are learning to navigate the complexity of this area, we're seeing some severe crashes and some pretty serious shutdowns of our stretch of highway.
A crash involving a tractor trailer in the construction zone shut down 70 for hours Tuesday morning. Hakeem says he's spoken with MoDOT and hopes some corrections can be made soon. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
And there is an end in sight for the bridge work on I-55 in St. Louis City and County.
Missouri Department of Transportation is still working on the last two bridges of 26 total along the I-55 corridor bridge rehab project. MoDOT area engineer Jen Wade.
We are going to be pouring concrete on the big Loughborough bridge that goes over the railroad tracks. In the next few, not October, but probably early November, we'll start with pouring that concrete.
Those two remaining bridges were delayed longer because the contractor damaged the girders and the new ones had to be brought in, but Wade says the end is nigh.
We expect to be done and all lanes back open with the bridge work by the end of the winter.
Wade clarified that by saying March 1st, we should have those lanes back open. Up next, resurfacing, which means there will be sporadic lane closures throughout 2026. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
After facing pushback from neighbors and officials, the developer behind a controversial data center in Midtown is now going to the public.
THO Investments is behind the proposal, says it'll host 2 town halls this month for that proposed data center next to the Armory. The announcement comes just a week after the developer pulled out of a city hearing saying he needed more time, but there was still a hearing about proposed new data center regulations. It lasted 3 hours.
I think this issue is a location issue, not an existence issue.
It's not just about how many jobs and having a huge project here. Don't get me wrong. High wage tech jobs are good for our city. They are good for our community. But this is also about infrastructure.
Those against the plan call it a potential drain on the city's energy and water resources and not compatible with the entertainment and residential uses around it.
And I want to say that I'm not here to advocate for data centers. I'm here to say that if the city is to build a data center, the permits are what determine how much resources are used.
A consultant for the developer says their goal now is to gather feedback, listen to it, and incorporate that into the project. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The business desk sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. It's 7:08, traffic and weather next.
Coverage varies by plan, view contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission, $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement, a $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-458-3124. 800-458-3124. 800-458-3124.
It's coming. I cannot wait. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to Missouri December 1st, and you will be able to bet on all your favorite teams and all your favorite sports. Couldn't happen at a better time of the year. You got pro and college football, basketball, you've got hockey. It's all going on. And with FanDuel, all kinds of ways to get in on the action. You could bet the money line, over, under, bet the spread. You could even bet the futures. How about MVP or who's going to win the championship or just make it to the playoffs? All of that is there for you to bet with FanDuel. Plus, with live betting, you can even pick which player is going to score the next touchdown and the touchdown after that. I love to live bet when the game is happening. It's a lot of fun. And with the downloaded FanDuel app on your phone, you can do it now and get used to it because the app is going to be available to use live in Missouri in December. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, play your game. 21 and over, present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Is Heim Bloom looking to add to Ollie Marmol's staff? A question from John Rooney coming up at 7:15. Right now, it's Frank Ladd, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Tom, we're still seeing extra volume into downtown St. Louis, westbound 5564. That's all due to an earlier crash that was on that was just past the Eads Bridge before Route 3. So you've got delays still back towards the Highway 70 merge, but it's not as intense as it had been, so that actually they may have gotten it out of the way. Westbound Highway 70 drivers are still seeing delays into downtown crossing the Musial Veterans Bridge. Highway 70 is still closed near Cary due to an earlier accident. That has you backed up to about the north leg of the arch, all the way back to the depressed section. Still seeing delays coming up from Arnold northbound on Highway 55, the Merrimack River Bridge. Stop and go up to about Butler Hill. Just the 3 left lanes are getting by there. Once you get past that, it's pretty easy to ramp onto Highway 270 northbound. Highway 270 northbound so far, essentially delay-free between 5544 all the way up through to Highway 64. In from St. Charles County, not seeing any issues now. Eastbound Highway 70, eastbound Highway 64, headed towards St. Louis County. Our next traffic update at 7:20. Frank Ladd, the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, sunshine and some clouds today and very warm this afternoon, high 89, clear, mild tonight, low 62 in some of the cooler suburbs, 68 downtown at the Arch. Mostly sunny and quite warm tomorrow, the high about 90. For Saturday and Sunday, sunny and very warm, the high both days 88. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
It's 63 in Florissant, 63 in St. Peters. We have some clouds, 63 downtown at the Arch. It's 7:12. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page's proposed budget is in the red. His plan, which was sent to the county council yesterday, would cut spending by 8.4% and still comes in with a $60 million deficit. Budget Committee Chair Councilwoman Shalonda Webb wonders why so many county positions continue to be funded, even though there's nobody filling them.
If you have those vacancies, are we at a point to identify some of those vacancies and those positions need to go away? Meaning that they've been vacant for so long. We didn't fill them over this last year. Is it an opportunity to look at them again and say, okay, do we still really need these positions?
Page wants to bridge the budget gap temporarily using the NFL settlement and permanently with an online sales tax. That tax, he says, would bring in up to $40 million beyond the budget gap and would also level the playing field for the county's brick and mortar retailers who have to charge sales tax.
A KMOX follow-up about St. Louis County municipalities wondering how to set their tax rates without knowing how many seniors are getting their property tax bills frozen. That deadline has now passed to complete the application for the freeze. County Executive Page says the number of approved seniors out of 80,000 applications should be known next week. and has a message for those who missed a chance to sign up.
Seniors who did not make the deadline for the first year can apply again beginning November 1st when applications open for the second year of the program.
St. Charles City and County have found a mutually beneficial way to expand space for operations. The city is building a brand new city hall, an $85 million complex approved by voters last year. The county would take over the old city hall and invest up to $18 million to renovate the building to be used as extra courthouse space. According to the Business Journal, the county will also contribute more than $4 million in transportation funds to extend Main Street for the city center complex and more than $7 million for roads to River Point, which is a $350 million riverfront development.
Also affecting St. Charles, General Mills closing its pizza crust plant. That plant on Millstone Parkway was acquired by the company 3 years ago after its previous owner had planned to create more than 100 jobs at the site. The closure is part of restructuring, which also includes shutting down 2 of the company's pet food facilities in Joplin.
Also closing 2 more local breweries. 2 have plans to close. Arch Nemesis Brewing at the district in Chesterfield, closing its tasting room at the end of November, but leaving open the possibility of reopening elsewhere in the future. Steampunk Brewworks in Town and Country, a tap room and homebrew supply store, will also be closing. According to the Business Journal, owner Dave Deaton is planning to retire. That makes at least 6 breweries and tap rooms to close this year, reflecting a national trend of struggling craft breweries. Sales and demand are down. Meanwhile, at Busch Stadium, attendance has been down. Cardinals fans did not come out in droves this year to see the 2025 club. And in 2026, how do they change that? Well, it begins with talent. People want to see winning clubs. And with that comes drafting and developing correctly. Developing being the key word. They want the players eventually to hit the ground running when they join the major leagues and become winning major league players as soon as they're here. That will take time. Now, while they are here, the coaching staff, Ollie Marmol and his group, are admired by Chaim Bloom. He likes the group. He wants some continuity. And John Rooney, in his interview with the new president of baseball operations, took it a step further.
Does that include hiring more people to help with their preparation? Like some teams have 4 or 5 guys just looking at video, looking for tells on a pitcher, where you can steal a base where it's Ollie and Pop taking a look at that after they've done all their other prep work. And I know you've looked at that from the minor league standpoint. Will that be true at the major league level too, and hiring some more staff?
That specifically, what you mentioned, that area is actually something that I've thought a lot about and thought about different ways to help move us forward. Throwing numbers at it isn't always the solution. That's certainly an option. It is definitely, that specific area you mentioned is definitely something that's been on my mind. Ollie and I have already had some conversations about how to help move that forward, because every team is doing this on some level. You want to make sure you're doing it most efficiently. You want to make sure you're looking at the things that are actually moving the needle on winning. And your most precious resource in this game is your time. And that's probably true in life, frankly, because it's the only thing that everybody has the same amount of, and you can't buy any more of it. And so making sure that we are set up so that everybody can spend their time in the ways that are the highest value is really important.
You can hear that full interview at KMOX.com. One team has advanced to the National League Division Series out of the wild card round, and that team is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They beat up the Reds again last night. 8-4 was the final. Beat them in the first game 10-5. The Dodgers win that series in 2 games. The Reds haven't won a postseason series since 1995. The other National League Series has the Padres and the Cubs going down to the Game 3 decisive game today. That will go at 4:08. Padres beat them yesterday 3-0. In the American League, Guardians over the Tigers 6-1, forcing the final Game 3 this afternoon. They'll start the day with a 2:08 start. Tonight at 7:08, it's the Red Sox and the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. Yankees got Boston last night. 4-3 was the final in that one. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Recently, a new client called me and started by saying, "Mr. Morgan, I really need your help, but I'm just a nobody." Those words stunned me, and I immediately called him back, and we're now helping him and his family after a terrible accident. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Everybody who comes to our firm at their time of need is a somebody. I grew up poor, but my grandmother was like a queen to us. At Morgan & Morgan, our goal is to level the playing field for you and your family at your time of need. The insurance company has unlimited money and resources. You need a firm who can fight them toe-to-toe. For right at 30 years, we have fought them in courtrooms throughout America. Our results speak for themselves. And always remember this: everybody is a somebody, and nobody is a nobody. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about our firm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
7:20 now, and time for traffic and weather. We do have a few clouds downtown, but it's looking like a nice sunny morning so far. We'll have more on that for you in just a moment. But first, Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Looks like we do have some backups and congestion.
Absolutely, Debbie. We're back up through Wentzville now, eastbound Highway 70, all due to a crash at Highway 64. Those right exit lanes are blocked there at Highway 64 and eastbound Highway 70. 270 northbound, a new crash at Highway 64. The left lane is blocked there. Northbound 55 still dealing with the crash north of Butler Hill. The three left lanes are open there. That has you backed up to 141. Working with the crash, Highway 70 westbound. This one is at Cary. The highway is completely shut down there. You're being diverted off the highway at Grand on Highway 70 westbound. So that has you backed up to about the usual Veterans Bridge in pockets, headed out to the accident scene. You're heavy as well, crossing the usual into downtown St. Louis. Our next traffic update at 7:30, Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says it is going to be a warm one today, tomorrow, and for the foreseeable future. Let's give you a little idea of the temperatures. Sunshine and some clouds today. Very warm this afternoon, a high of 89. Clear and warm tonight, lows ranging from 62 in the coolest suburbs to 68 downtown at the Arch. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny, very warm, high near 90. Saturday and Sunday, sunny and very warm, highs both days 88. Monday, times of sun and clouds, quite warm, rather humid, high again, 88 degrees. Currently, we have some clouds, 64 in Florissant, 63 in St. Peters, it's 63 downtown at the Arch, and the weather is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drugged driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit madd.org.
The news continues at 7:22. The state of Missouri asking a Cole County judge to toss out a lawsuit against a new law giving tax breaks designed to help the Kansas City Chiefs and Royals fund stadium improvements.
The wide-ranging law provides up to $1.5 billion in state tax funding for stadium improvements, property tax increase limits in most Missouri counties, and a tax credit for natural disaster victims. Attorney Ron Calzone represents two Republican lawmakers who say the law is unconstitutional because it contains more than one subject.
Once it goes together is you end up with laws being enacted
that by themselves would never have garnered a majority of the vote of the people.
Judge Christopher Limbaugh is expected to rule on the dismissal motion in the next 30 days.
Pope Leo coming to the defense of Illinois Senator Dick Durbin after the pro-choice politician declined to accept an award from the Chicago Archdiocese.
The award angered many pro-life Catholics like Springfield Bishop Thomas Paprocki, who said it was absurd for the Catholic Church to honor Durbin due to his pro-choice positions. Pope Leo was asked about the issue at the Vatican.
I'm not terribly familiar with the particular case. I think that it's very important to look at the overall work that a senator has done during, if I'm not mistaken, 40 years of service in the United States Senate. I understand the difficulty and the tensions, but I think as I myself have spoken in the past, it's important to look at many issues that are related to what is the teaching of the church.
Senator Durbin says he was overwhelmed by the Pope's comments. Chicago Cardinal Blaise Cupich defended giving Durbin the award, saying it was specifically meant to honor his work with immigrants. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
In deploying the National Guard to help ICE, Governor Kehoe said Missouri is proud to join in the Trump administration's efforts, but the ACLU is condemning the action, calling it an unprecedented act. In a statement, the ACLU says, with the backdrop of mass immigration agents breaking apart our families and communities, it is particularly concerning that the governor is asking Guard members to voluntarily participate in this agenda. At the same time, he is failing to provide resources to the communities impacted by a natural disaster, said the ACLU. These politicized actions embolden the administration in D.C. They do not protect communities in Missouri, end quote.
St. Charles County Police say the person responsible for racist graffiti at Francis Howell High School last week was not a student, but one of the school's own custodians. Tyler Carter was arrested and charged after police say he admitted to writing racial slurs in a bathroom. According to charging documents, Carter told police he was angry about having to clean graffiti he believed was left by Black students. Carter is now on leave from the district and is being held on $50,000 bond.
A St. Louis County councilman wants to ban panhandling along the side of the road. Mike Archer says it's a public safety issue. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young says there are enormous First Amendment issues to this.
Both state and federal courts have routinely held that panhandling is protected by the First Amendment, that it's speech, and that any statutes or ordinances that try to block that content-based speech are technically just invalid. They're unenforceable.
Back in 2021, a homeless man sued and won in federal court after he was cited in St. Louis County for panhandling.
KMOX told you yesterday about the upgrades coming to Tucker Boulevard, new bike lanes, crosswalks, and a lane reduction in hopes of slowing down traffic. Cyclists tell our Stuart McMillan why they're looking forward to a day when they can feel more comfortable riding a bicycle in downtown St. Louis.
Ever have any close calls or anything downtown?
Yeah, most certainly.
Is it a lot, or is it like just every once?
I think that it really depends on the road. People are looking out a little bit more downtown.
Some of the cars do get a little close, especially on South Compton, where it has some signage, but not enough space between myself and the car.
I bike from the Central West End. I've been biking to work downtown for 10 years, so I kind of know some of the safer spots. But once you get to downtown, it's wide roads and it's a little challenging.
It's 7:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. I like that they can just say that because they mean it and they absolutely can back it up. You know, it's a good feeling when you're a company and you know since 1968 that people like working with you, that you're locally owned and operated, that you use your own professionally trained installation crews, trucks, and tools. You operate out of your own warehouses and large showroom. You give free in-home estimates at no obligation, free project design. Chesterfield Fence and Deck can come out, take measurements, show you their product offerings and an extensive digital photo gallery of completed projects, fences, decks, patios, pergolas, sunrooms, retaining walls. They do it. Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The Better Business Bureau has them with an A+ rating. Chesterfield Fence and Deck. ChesterfieldFence.com. Mention me, Tom Ackerman. Receive 20% off your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Rally House, shop every team in town. College and pro, come on, it's time to go.
Mizzou fans, don't miss out. Rally House Chesterfield is hosting Kevin Coleman Jr. Friday, October 3rd from 4 to 5 p.m.
Cardinals, Blues, Missouri State, Tigers, Billikens, don't be late. Rally House, it's your city, it's your house, it's the Rally House.
Level up your fandom in-store or online at rallyhouse.com.
It is 7:30, and right now we've got some sunshine and just a few clouds in downtown St. Louis, 63 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We have a lot of traffic. Roger Brand is off today. Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Interstate 70 remains closed at Cary, all due to an accident. A vehicle struck a pedestrian there, and it was a fatality, Highway 70 westbound. So the highway remains shut down there. You're being ramped off and back on the highway starting at Grand, and you're backed up to the Dome now, 70 westbound. Northbound Highway 55 getting a little better. Just those right exit lanes north of Butler Hill are partially blocked, headed towards Highway 270. Still delays approaching Butler Hill back to about their Merrimack River Bridge. Northbound Highway 270 at Highway 64, a crash blocking the left lane there. And a crash 70 eastbound at Highway 64 out in Wentzville, blocking those exit lanes, those exit ramp lanes to Highway 64. Our next traffic update at 7:40. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunshine until further notice, maybe a few clouds here or there, and hot summery weather until at least Monday. Today's high 89. It's 63 right now.
It's 7:31. A new direct flight to Western Europe was announced by the region's leaders.
St. Louisans can soon fly directly to London via Lambert Airport. Gloria Chow Vanderwell, SVP of British Airways, says two factors are behind this decision.
We are not being able to make this possible without St. Louis partnership. And also the demand is there. You heard Rhonda talks about the number of passengers and international demand. You know, all these things together, it just lined up.
The St. Louis Port Authority is committing $4.5 million in incentives over 3 years to make this partnership possible. Flights are on sale now. They will begin with seasonal flights in April with the hopes of eventually flying year-round if there is enough demand. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
British Airways and American Airlines are both in the One World Alliance. Could American Airlines add flights to help feed passengers for British Airways? We asked airline consultant Mike Boyd.
I don't know. American is not a feeder anymore there. And, you know, you saw what's happened with Southwest. No, it really is going to be people coming to and from the region.
Another example, Lufthansa is in Star Alliance with United, but United hasn't added any flights to support St. Louis's Lufthansa route.
St. Louis used to have nonstop flights to London, Paris, and Tokyo, and the airport director today directed the airline in those days. She says the international belongs again in St. Louis Lambert International Airport.
When Rhonda Homnabriggy first became Lambert Airport Director more than 15 years ago, after having run TWA and American airport operations, she says the first thing she was told was, get us a flight back to London.
It feels good to finally answer that plea.
She says attracting a carrier like British Airways on a route like Heathrow means backing up your bid with butts in seats.
Obviously, both the airport and the airlines pull historic data to look at the number of people going into not only their market, but their connecting markets as well. And that's a huge plus for us, because if we look at our numbers, during the summer, we have about 450 people a day going into Europe and beyond.
And beyond that, Homnabriggy says airlines want a revenue guarantee before starting something new. That's what kept it from happening for so long. St. Louis didn't offer money in the past. Then a group came together to attract Lufthansa. That Frankfurt, Germany route wound up not needing the subsidy. It continues now without the money and with even more flights. Homnabriggy expects.
It is 7:33, and we'll have your money report from Bloomberg coming up next here on Total Information AM.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
It is 7:35. You are listening to Total Information AM, and it's time for your money report from Bloomberg. It's sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A notorious ransomware group is extorting executives in technology departments at large organizations after claiming to have stolen their data from a suite of popular Oracle applications. A group of hackers have claimed to have breached Oracle's e-business suite. The group says it is affiliated with a criminal outfit called PSYOP. Netflix has won a dismissal of a lawsuit from an Indian filmmaker who accuses the streaming giant of ripping off his 2009 movie Luck for its Squid Game series. A U.S. District Court judge ruled that filmmaker Soham Shah did not own the copyright to the movie Luck and that the movie and the show were, quote, not substantially similar. McDonald's is looking to aggressively expand its store count. The fast food giant wants to have 50,000 locations around the world by adding almost 10,000 stores to its count over the next 4 years. McDonald's is zeroing in on areas where it has fallen behind population growth, like Texas. Despite offering meal deals and tweaking its menu, McDonald's has struggled to get more people through its stores. I'm Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
The Towns of Linneman Park, new townhomes by Lombardo, located in St. Peters. These new construction townhomes are located on the south side of 36494, east of Harvester Road, and offer floor plans featuring 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a loft, and 2-car attached garages. Community amenities include a clubhouse, pool, pickleball courts, dog park, and walking trails. Tour our newly decorated display and fall in love with your new townhome. Visit lombardohomes.com for more information.
Last month, my business cash flow got tight. Sales were slow, invoices were late, and payroll was coming fast. My business is everything, and people rely on me. I can't let them down. I applied online at lendseek.com and had business funding in 24 hours.
Business moves fast. Don't wait until it's too late. Whether it's lines of credit, term loans, working capital funding, or revenue-based financing, LendSeek is open for business. Apply now at lendseek.com.
We know you're uncertain about psychics.
Is this fortune teller you found on a forum legit?
Your one true love is... me!
That's why California Psychics reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Get insights on the go. Download the California Psychics app today.
At Odyssey, we believe in creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. We also value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be notified of all our open positions. That's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for all our listeners, please visit odysseyinc.com/careers for a list of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
The countdown to kickoff starts here. Fridays focus on Mizzou, the Chiefs, and the NFL, only on KMOX.
7:39, it's Total Information AM. The Boeing strike is on the mind of Missouri U.S. Senator Josh Hawley, and appearing before Hawley's Senate committee yesterday, seeking confirmation of his presidential appointment to the National Labor Relations Board was Boeing Chief Labor Counsel Scott Mayer. Hawley let him have it. Here's their exchange.
Were you involved in the settling the machinist strike in Seattle, I think it was?
Yes, Senator, I was involved in that negotiation.
Okay. Do you remember what the contract was you finally gave the Seattle machinists?
I remember parts of it. Yeah, I can't.
Wage increase, 38% general wage increase over 4 years, plus the option of a $12,000 one-time ratification bonus or a $7,000 ratification bonus and a $5,000 401k contribution. Does that sound roughly correct?
That sounds roughly correct.
Okay. Why wouldn't you just do that for the folks in St. Louis?
Senator, every negotiation is different.
Well, plainly so, because what you're offering to my constituents is a fraction of that. And I guess I just don't understand why. I mean, is it that what's different about the folks in Missouri?
It's not a question of difference about the folks in Missouri. It's a question about.
You just said a minute ago, fairness is elusive. I mean, it does seem to be elusive for the Missouri strikers.
Hawley says the 3,200 St. Louis area workers who have been on strike against Boeing haven't seen a decent wage increase in years.
A world premiere tonight in St. Louis. We've got details coming up after we check traffic and weather. Here is Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thanks, Debbie. Start with the good news. They cleared that accident northbound Highway 55 over to the right shoulder north of Butler Hill, but we're still seeing delays back towards the Merrimack River Bridge, and folks were avoiding all these slowdowns now by taking 141 northbound, and so that's heavy headed up towards Highway 30. Highway 30 eastbound and Highway 21 eastbound are heavy as well, headed up towards Highway 270. Still dealing with a crash on northbound Highway 270 and Highway 64. This one is now in the two left lanes. More emergency vehicles are on the scene there. So you've got your normal delays northbound on Highway 270 in pockets from about Big Bend headed up towards Highway 64. 70 eastbound remains heavy headed towards Wentzville, all due to a crash at the Highway 64 interchange. You're backed up to about David Hokel Parkway now eastbound on Highway 70. The right lanes are blocked at eastbound Highway 64. And Highway 70 westbound remains closed at Cary. You're being diverted off the highway at Grand. You have delays back towards the depressed section on 70 westbound. Our next traffic update at 7:50. I'm Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com. My dad always said, no one gets out of this world alive. Hi, it's Margaret at Eamon Gantner and Capriano. Do you have a will? Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com. The choice of an attorney is an important decision that should not be based solely on advertising.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. It stays hot in St. Louis.
It does all the way through the beginning of next week until the next front can arrive for the north and west and cool things out for the middle of next week. But it's going to be in the upper 80s today with sunshine and some clouds. And tonight doesn't cool off an awful lot. Clear skies, at least the air mass is pretty dry. 62 in the coolest suburbs, 68 downtown at the Arch. With sunshine tomorrow, we're off to 90 degrees. Saturday and Sunday, upper 80s with plenty of sunshine, and this warmth lingers through Monday. Start to see a few more clouds around, but very warm and rather humid with a high of 88. Mentioned that front, maybe some rain, some shower or thunderstorm activity associated with it by the time we get to Tuesday. 63 at St. Peter's, at 66 in Florissant, partly sunny, and 69 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:43. Tonight is the world premiere of Soul on Fire at Powell Hall, filmed in St. Louis. It's the inspirational true story of John O'Leary.
You'd have to be extraordinarily vain to want your life told on a screen, and so I do. I love it. I love the fact that finally Hollywood knows who I am, and it is about time. It is time. Take notice, LA.
O'Leary was badly burned as a child and expected to die, but a friendship with Jack Buck gave him the will to pull through. Here's director Sean McNamara.
I make films like Spare Parts, where people come from a great loss and then go on and do something with their lives. And I think we all need that on a regular basis. And John's story just blew me away. And I'm not looking at him because he will make me cry. But at any rate, that's why I did the movie.
Actor Joel Courtney portrays the young John O'Leary and eerily captures his voice and mannerisms.
And I've heard from a lot of people in the room how terrific the performance was and the mannerisms and all that stuff. But we're just here to tell this man's story. And it was an honor to get to bring him to life. He couldn't have been more of a giving character for me to connect with on set personally, become a good friend and an encourager, as you all know.
In July, the cast came to St. Louis for a special screening at the High Point for local investors, friends, and family. Soul on Fire will be released nationally October 10th.
Sony Pictures moving in for the distribution on that. That's a really good sign.
That is huge.
Yeah, that's a big one. John Corbett, William H. Macy. It's a really terrific cast. Looking forward to being there tonight. I'll conduct some of those red carpet interviews with some of the celebrities. The Buck family is scheduled to attend tonight. Ozzie Smith, of course, the cast and crew. It should be a tremendous night at Powell Hall. And that's the other thing. I'm looking forward to seeing the renovated Powell Hall tonight.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either. And then also at Ronnie's tonight, they're having another premiere because there wasn't enough room in Powell.
That's really, really great. It's 7:45. Jack Buck is smiling on John O'Leary. Very, very special. Another person that Jack very much loved, and he got to see the start of his career, and I'm sure he's proud of Albert Pujols. Pujols is apparently a front runner for the Angels job. We thought this might be the case. Artie Moreno, the owner of the Angels, really likes Albert. In fact, he pays Albert. He has a personal services contract with the Angels following his career. And according to multiple reports yesterday, he is the front runner for the Angels job. Ron Washington was let go. In fact, there are 8 major league jobs available. Brian Snitker, the Braves manager, stepped down yesterday. The Braves treated that as a celebration of Snitker's career. He won a world championship there in 2021. Ollie Marmol retained as Cardinals manager, as Chaim Bloom, the new president of baseball operations, has reiterated, including in an interview with John Rooney that you can hear now. We've been playing clips of it the last 2 mornings. It's up 26 minutes in length at KMOX.com. It's really good. As for the MLB postseason, it comes down to 3 winner-take-all games today. 2:08. It'll be the Guardians and the Tigers in Cleveland. Cleveland kept its season alive with a 6-1 win yesterday. At 4:08 at Wrigley Field, the Padres and the Cubs. As that series was kept alive by the Padres, they shut out the Cubs yesterday 3-0. Did you see Mason Miller? He's throwing 104, hitting the black. Just an incredible performance by the Padres reliever. Yu Darvish makes the start today for San Diego. It'll be Jameson Taillon for the Cubs. And the other one is Red Sox Yankees. They play tonight at 7:08. The Yankees kept their season alive with a 4-3 win over the Red Sox yesterday. One series is in the books. It's the Dodgers advancing to the NLDS to play the Phillies on Saturday. Shohei Ohtani is going to start game 1. What a crazy, wild series that'll be. The Reds, they were in and out in what felt like about 5 minutes. They lost 5 10-5 in the first game, 8-4 in the second game. The Reds haven't won a postseason series since 1995. As for college football, the slate this weekend, Mizzou is off. They will play Alabama next Saturday. Huge game, though, for Illinois. The 22nd ranked Illini, they cannot overlook Purdue. They'll play at Purdue on Saturday at 11 a.m., and next week they get to host Ohio State. As for hockey, the Blues have not won a preseason game yet. They will host Ottawa tonight. It's a 7 o'clock face-off at Enterprise Center. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
I hear from sellers all the time that they fear they have missed out on the selling market. They are so relieved to learn September, October, and November are strong selling months. With low inventory and hopefully lower interest rates, this fall will be a hot one for real estate. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. You may have heard me say, why pay more than 4 for years? Now it's why pay more than 2, saving you even more money. Call me 314-441-4444. And remember, why pay more than 2?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri, Kansas, and Nevada.
Looking for some iced caffeine, left you in the cold. No one knows why brown water costs as much as liquid gold. Told them your name was Brian, why does this cup say Nicole? But then you found paradise in your cup at the Quick Trip. No regrets to start your day.
When we started Neovitamin back in 2009, we wanted to create a multivitamin that we would take ourselves. That's why we use quality ingredients in our Neovitamin Original Formula multivitamin. With over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our physician-formulated proprietary blend, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neovitamin Original Formula multivitamin a try for yourself. Find it at your local Schnucks, Deerbergs, and online at neovitamin.com.
KMOX proudly supports the Mutual Awards, returning to Stiefel Theater Saturday, November 22nd. You can be in the audience for this nationally televised event, hosted right here in St. Louis. Named for Stan the Man, the show celebrates the year's greatest moments of sportsmanship and those who embody class and character. Experience the extraordinary moments and people that make the Mutual Awards an event like no other. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
7:50 and time for us to get you updated on your ride in. We've had some issues this morning. Hopefully you're not stuck in one, but let's sort it out with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we'll start with the good news. All lanes back up in northbound 55 north of Butler Hill, as well as eastbound Highway 70 and Highway 64. So that's the good news. Still seeing delays through Wentzville eastbound on Highway 64, and it's busy approaching Highway 270 on northbound 55. That accident's still there, northbound on Highway 270, just before Highway 64, still blocking the 2 left lanes. That has you stop and go now from north of 44 up to the accident scene. Through downtown St. Louis, we still have delays westbound on Highway 70 from about Washington Avenue, about the Dome or so, headed out to where Highway 70 is closed at Adelaide. You're being ramped off the highway at Grand to get around this accident scene. The Highway 70 westbound closure is at Cary. Into downtown, seeing some pockets of volume westbound 5564 approaching the Poplar Street Bridge. Similar story westbound Highway 70 crossing the Musial Veterans Bridge. We have reports of an accident out in front of the Science Center westbound on Highway 64 now passing Forest Park. It is that in that normal stop and go stretch headed out towards McCausland. Our next traffic update at 7:58. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says we'll have sunshine and some clouds. Very warm this afternoon, high 89. Tonight, clear and warm, lows ranging into the 60s. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny and very warm, a high near 90. Currently, we have some clouds downtown. It's 64 degrees.
The news continues at 7:52. Today is day 2 of the government shutdown, each side on Capitol Hill blaming the other after another Wednesday vote in the Senate was vote for vote exactly like the one Tuesday that put the partial closure of the government in motion.
Right here, Mr. President. It's in front of us, right here. We can pass this today. Pass it right now. All we have to do, get support from the Democrats. House has passed it. This is the House passed bill. We take it up in the Senate, pass it, send it to the President. President signs it into law. and the government stays funded.
A Senate vote to end the government shutdown hours after it began has failed.
On this vote, the yeas are 55 and the nays are 45. 3/5 of the Senate duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmation. The motion is not agreed to.
Both sides are holding firm, with Democrats insisting on funding for health care subsidies and Republicans refusing.
A lot of good can come down from shutdowns. We can get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want, and they'd be Democrat things. When you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected, and the Democrats, they're going to be Democrats.
The blame game is in full effect, with both sides saying the other caused the shutdown.
And everybody's now asking the question, how does this end? Well, it ends when the Senate Democrats pick this bill up, passed by the House of Representatives, and vote for it.
The way out of this is for Republicans to finally roll up their sleeves and get to work.
Top Senate leaders John Thune and Chuck Schumer at the White House.
I actually don't think it's going to be that long of a shutdown.
Vice President J.D. Vance says some Democrats have already flipped sides, but at least 5 more have to sign on. And if the shutdown drags on,
let's be honest, if this thing drags on for another few days or God forbid another few weeks, we are going to have to lay people off. We're going to have to save money in some places so the essential services don't get turned off in other places.
Roughly 750,000 federal workers are expected to be furloughed, some potentially fired. For now, the shutdown's immediate impacts are being felt at places like Acadia National Park in Maine, which is largely shut down. Visitor Jim Feathers frustrated with Congress.
Their job is to pass a budget, and if they're not doing their job, what are they doing down there?
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
It's the first government shutdown as congressman for Wesley Bell.
My line in the sand are the soaring healthcare costs, the cost of living for regular Americans. It's just out the window. You know, I have a son in college, and the thought of him being able to buy a house next year is just it's just not going to happen.
He says many Americans are in the same boat.
Mayor Kara Spencer is concerned a prolonged shutdown could hurt the local economy.
We have a lot of federal employees here. It's heartbreaking to see the sort of mess in D.C. right now.
However, one area the mayor is not concerned about is FEMA's individual payments being halted due to the shutdown.
That should not be impacted, at least right now. We're not understanding that that's going to have any immediate impacts on those direct payments to residents.
Spencer says she does fear a prolonged shutdown could slow the debris removal, which FEMA recently announced they would help fund. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page says things are business as usual in their local government despite the federal shutdown. Page is worried about the impact of an extended shutdown, particularly if RECA applications are not getting processed.
If the applications aren't processed, that's a problem. We want to make sure that we continue to help our folks in St. Louis County who need documents.
Page is also worried a long shutdown could hurt federal employees who live in the county.
It is 7:56, and this is Total Information AM.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Hey, let's just talk for a moment here about Chesterfield Fence and Deck, because I know it's October, but it still feels like summer. But you might be thinking a little more about what you would like your outdoor space to look like next year. Or if you tried to get something done in your outdoor space this year and couldn't get on the calendar, this is an excellent time to call Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Maybe you need a deck replacement or a new patio, a pergola, a sunroom, a screen room, a fence, whatever you need. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is going to do a fantastic job for you, because they are the sign you have the very best, the highest quality materials, the best installers who do this full time with years of experience, and a company that stands behind everything they do. They've been around for 57 years, a locally owned, family owned company. So if you were to have any problems, which you won't, they'll come out and make it right, because they've been doing this for so long, an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Experience counts, and so does quality. If you mention me, Debbie Monterey, they'll take 20% off your next outdoor project. Visit them online right now at chesterfieldfence.com.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real.
It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now, promo code RADIO.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. That's right, weight loss seminar at the Marriott St. Louis West in St. Louis at 11 a.m. Registration 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m.
Frank Ladd, what's the latest in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center?
Well, the latest is good. They cleared that crash northbound Highway 270 at Highway 64 that had been blocking 2 lanes. You're backed up, though, to about Big Bend and a little south of there, headed towards Highway 44. Still dealing with the highway shutdown westbound on Highway 70 at Adelaide. That has you backed up through the depressed section, headed out of downtown St. Louis. Our next traffic update at 8:10, Frank Ladd, the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Thursday, the 2nd of October. I'm Debbie Monterey, and a podcaster and military veteran is the latest candidate who wants to take over Ann Wagner's 2nd District congressional seat. You can hear where he stands after the news.
Today is also Megan Lynch's birthday. I want everyone to wish her a happy birthday on our YouTube, X, or Facebook live stream. Total Information AM continues for another hour. We're going to have a very warm day today, a high of 89 degrees. It's 8 o'clock.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A deadly attack in the UK on the highest of Jewish holy days.
I'm Vicky Barker in London. Specialist armed police outside the Heaton Park Synagogue in Manchester, moments after gunning down the suspect in a car and stabbing rampage. Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he's appalled by the attack, which came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish calendar.
Additional police assets are being deployed to synagogues across the country.
2 people were killed, 3 are in critical condition. Bomb squads are still investigating whether the suspect was carrying an explosive. Here in the U.S., operations on Capitol Hill are paused for the Jewish holiday on this second day of a government shutdown. But the blame game continues. Massachusetts Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren.
You know how many negotiations there have been? 0. And the Republicans are saying they won't negotiate when there's not a shutdown. They won't negotiate when there is a shutdown.
House Speaker Mike Johnson.
We have 3 months for Congress to do its deliberate work. All we're saying is while that work is done on these and other issues, keep the lights on for the American people.
Both lawmakers on CBS Mornings. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers remain furloughed. At New York's LaGuardia Airport last night.
We have 2 CRJs on mic that collided.
2 Delta regional jets crashed into each other. CBS's Tom Hansen is at the airport.
Well, a total of 93 people were on board both of those flights. That includes our very own CBS News producer, Joey Annunziato. He actually captured video of the aftermath. Now, he described a chaotic scene where people were shouting after the impact and asking each other what exactly happened.
A flight attendant was injured. Sean Combs will be sentenced tomorrow for his conviction on prostitution-related charges. His former stylist, Deontay Nash, who filed a lawsuit last week accusing the rap mogul of physically and sexually abusing him for years, has spoken exclusively with CBS's Jerika Duncan.
So who are we going to tell? Like, who exactly were we going to tell? Who are we going to call? Ghostbusters? Like, there was no one there to save us.
Combs denies Nash's claims. Snapchat will start charging its heaviest users for storage. CBS's Michael Wallace.
You can save photos and videos in Snapchat's Memories feature, which the company says has grown so much it needs to expand its infrastructure. It's storing more than 1 trillion memories. So, in a rare move for a social media platform, starting next fall, Snapchat will charge users with more than 5 gigabytes of memories, the equivalent of thousands of snaps, a monthly fee.
That fee between $2 and $15. Dow futures down 21. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit progressive.com.
At 8:03, we have sunshine, 65 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Thursday, October 2nd. I'm Megan Lynch.
If you scab this employee, you scab on this union. That is a mark you will have on your entire working career.
IAM Local 837 leaders and other unions, some from out of state, rallied striking Boeing machinists, encouraging them to stay strong.
But there appears to be no end in sight to the strike that started August 4th. AFL-CIO President Liz Shuler.
What you are building for this country, the sacrifices you make to make sure that our military is safe.
Manson Graves is a munitions mechanic at Boeing facility in St. Charles, and he tells KMOX he gave all his rewards back.
Israel, they were over here visiting our plant out here because they were getting arms from us. One of the generals gave me a point medallion. I brought that back and gave it to him. Told him, take it to Gilead.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
What do we want?
And on strike, Boeing's chief labor counsel gets an earful from Missouri U.S. Senator Josh Hawley, who laid out what striking machinists in Washington state were offered a few years ago and asked why St. Louis machinists aren't getting the same deal.
Why wouldn't you just do that for the folks in St. Louis?
Senator, every negotiation is different.
Boeing's Scott Mayer appeared before Hawley's Senate committee for confirmation of his nomination by President Trump to the National Labor Relations Board. The developer behind a $1.5 billion redevelopment at the Armory site in Midtown is taking its plans public.
The developer is THO Investments. They've scheduled 2 town hall meetings this month for the proposed data center on Prospect Avenue, which the company claims will generate over $200 million in tax revenue for the city. But the project is the first to be judged under new stricter rules for data centers issued by the mayor. The public spoke for 3 hours on this project at a hearing on those regulations.
The fiscal impact of these projects can really be tremendous. And I hope that that's something taken into consideration through the course of this project.
Developers are leaving the city. They're going in Kansas City. Our workers are going there because of that.
The developer will have to answer questions from the city about the proposal's impact on jobs and utilities like power bills.
Some people have bills that were $80 that are now $1,000. Yesterday, I talked to a man who said that he turned off his electricity because he could no longer afford the bill. He is charging his phone and is sleeping in his car every single night.
The first developer town hall is Thursday, October 9th on Zoom, then Monday, October 13th at the Sheet Metal Workers Hall on Shoto. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
As the government shutdown continues into its second day, how will it impact St. Louis City?
Mayor Kara Spencer says city services and FEMA's individual payments will not be impacted by the governmental shutdown. However, the debris removal is another story.
Debris removal, cleanup, and other things and other aspects of the tornado recovery that are being funded through federal dollars. We have concerns.
Mayor Spencer does add that as things currently stand, she is confident they will be able to move forward with their plans. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
All lanes of I-55 in St. Louis City and County will reopen by March 1st of next year. Stuart McMillan has more.
Missouri Department of Transportation is still working on the last 2 bridges of 26 total along the I-55 corridor bridge rehab project. MoDOT area engineer Jen Wade.
We are going to be pouring concrete on the big Loughborough bridge that goes over the railroad tracks. In the next few, not October, but probably early November, we'll start with pouring that concrete.
Those 2 remaining bridges were delayed longer because the contractor damaged the girders and the new ones had to be brought in. But Wade says the end is nigh.
We expect to be done and all lanes back open with the bridge work by the end of the winter.
From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, Arch Nemesis Brewing in Chesterfield, and Steampunk Brewworks in Town and Country have announced plans to close, bringing the year's total to at least 6 local breweries calling it quits. Arch Nemesis will shutter its tasting room in November, but might reopen elsewhere later, while Steampunk is closing due to owner Dave Deaton's retirement.
We'll get a check of traffic and weather coming up, and then you'll meet the latest challenger for incumbent Republican Congresswoman Ann Wagner's 2nd District seat. It's 8:08.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hi, Stacy with Fairwinds Rivers Edge Senior Living in St. Charles. Are you a senior seeking a fun retirement? Do you want less work and more play? Do you want to enjoy great food that you don't have to cook? Then I know. Stop what you're doing right now and call Fairwinds. Set up a time to visit and have a meal. Meet some of our awesome residents. Check us out online at fairwindsriversedge.com. We hope to talk with you soon.
Rally House, shop every team in town. College and pro, come on, it's time to go.
Mizzou fans, don't miss out. Rally House Chesterfield is hosting Kevin Coleman Jr. Friday, October 3rd from 4 to 5 p.m.
Cardinals, Blues, Missouri State, Tigers, Billikens, don't be late. Rally House, Rally House. It's your city, it's your house, it's a Rally House.
Level up your fandom in-store or online at rallyhouse.com.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The Power of a Professional Tax Strategy Team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference. This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10 at Total Information AM. Let's get you around the backups. Frank Ladd is watching for you from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're still dealing with the highway closure, Highway 70 westbound at Cary, all due to an earlier fatal vehicle and pedestrian accident there. So you're backed up almost to the depressed section now, westbound on Highway 70, headed out to the accident scene. You're being ramped off and on the highway at Grand to get around the accident scene as the shutdown is just past Adelaide. So 70 westbound still heavy out of downtown St. Louis. Into downtown St. Louis, still some volume westbound 5564 up to and crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. We had reports of an additional accident now just before Route 3. Headed into the work zone northbound on Highway 55. You've got delays now. Those start at about Bayless and head up towards Carondelet. You're on the brakes as well, northbound on Highway 270 from before Highway 44 up to an accident near Doherty Ferry north of there, headed up towards Highway 64. Not bad. Still stop and go passing Forest Park westbound on Highway 64, and we're still seeing a pocket of volume, and it's eastbound on Highway 70 now at Air Flight. It's a vehicle off the roadway. The emergency vehicle is over on the right shoulder, but folks are slowing to take a look on eastbound Highway 70. Our next traffic update at 8:20, Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast now from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk. Sunny with a few clouds. It'll be warm this afternoon, warmer than it was yesterday, a high of 89 expected. Clear and warm tonight with lows around 60. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny, another very warm day with a high near 90. Right now, we have sunny skies, 68 degrees in Florissant. It's 63 in St. Peters, and we have 65 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Republican Congresswoman Ann Wagner facing new competition for her seat. Podcaster and Army combat veteran Fred Wellman of Wildwood has announced his candidacy in Missouri's 2nd Congressional District.
She voted to cut our health care, hike our insurance premiums, and gut medical research that supports a heck of a lot of jobs around here. And the only thing she's done on prices is drive them up higher.
That's a clip from Wellman's first campaign ad released yesterday. He joins us now by phone. Mr. Wellman, thanks so much for joining me.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
So I do have to note, your first campaign messages don't say which party you're with. I had to dig around and figure that out. So could you clarify that for listeners?
That was not meant on purpose. I'm a Democrat. I'm a proud Democrat, ready to go to battle for that. So you know how launching campaigns can be. It's a little hectic sometimes.
Oh, totally understand. So let's start with what we're currently facing, the government shutdown. Democrats' stand on healthcare has triggered this shutdown. What is your position on this? Where would you have voted on this?
Well, I would argue it wasn't Democrats' stand on healthcare that triggered this. It was the Republicans' insistence on taking away healthcare from millions of Americans. You know, hundreds of thousands of Missourians are going to lose their healthcare when all these cuts kick in. I mean, we know for a fact when the ACA window opens here in November in Missouri, that the rates for Missourians are going to go up from 14% to as high as 40% for a basic ACA plan. Next year, healthcare for even employed people with corporate insurance is going to go up 30%. All Democrats are asking for was a negotiation to talk about that and restore the tax cuts that the Republicans took away. So in a lot of ways, in the tax benefit, it is frustrating to see them paint this as a Democratic shutdown. Because last time I checked, Ann Wagner and her Republican colleagues are the majority in the House, the majority in the Senate, and they hold the White House. So I would have stuck with my colleagues in the House to make sure we fight for Missourians. My frustration is the day the government shut down, Ann Wagner was here in the district doing photo ops. So you're not working for Missourians if your priority is to visit some folks, get some photos, and then act like nothing's going on as Missourians lose their health care and their jobs, their federal employees.
Well, Ann Wagner posed with National Guard members in D.C. when they were deployed there, thanking them for helping her feel safe. What's your position on the deployment of National Guard troops into U.S. cities, including any deployment in St. Louis?
The thing is, for me, it starts with disrespect to their service. I was an Army officer for 22 years. I was a reserve officer for a portion of that. More importantly for me, my own son-in-law still serves in the National Guard. And for that, he actually deployed for the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, to protect the innocent people there. To take our National Guard, deploy them to cities to do things like beautification projects, that's not their mission. I mean, let's take it back to Missouri. After the tornado in North St. Louis, Governor Kehoe only deployed a few National Guardsmen for a measly 3 days. Now he's agreed to deploy the same National Guardsmen to support ICE or do security operations, which is not their mission. Our National Guard, people join the National Guard to serve their communities in ways like disaster relief or in the national emergency overseas and combat. I wrote the orders after 9/11 for many of them to deploy to combat. So but for me, it starts with disrespect to the men and women who serve and then a misuse of their mission. I mean, imagine leaving your family, leaving your job to go to Washington, D.C. to pick up garbage on the National Mall because DOJ cut all the National Park Service workers who do that for a living. That's what they've done. So her posing with National Guardsmen and acting like that's normal or an appropriate mission, it goes again how little she thinks of us, how little she thinks of those of us who serve. To me, it's extremely frustrating.
So let's stay on the military line of questioning and look at what's going on internationally. Would you have supported the White House decision to strike Iran nuclear facilities?
No. And I'll tell you why. First of all, the methodology, we don't even know if it succeeded. If you remember, President Trump fired the head of the intelligence branch that said the mission didn't actually do what they thought it would. Again, not everything has to be solved with a hammer. One of my frustrations with this administration and with Ms. Wagner and her Republican colleagues is every tool, the only tool they use is a hammer. And when you think the military's only job is a hammer, then everything looks like a nail. So they solve every problem by deploying the military, by bombing something, by talking tough. And the military has a range of options. The United States has a range of options, from quiet and secret to the CIA, planting a bug or planting a worm or something like that in that area, to solving our problems with international diplomacy and others. But the problem I get again and again, whether or not it succeeded or it didn't, Trump has always fallen back on using the military to blow things up. And it gets to that speech, right? That speech that Hegseth gave. He said to our military leaders, your job is to break things and kill people. I got bad news for you. That's not our only job. People don't join. It makes us sound like vicious killers when many of the men and women I serve with actually join to serve their country and to help others. Because believe it or not, I spent a good chunk of my first combat deployment in Iraq in 2003 building clinics and delivering water to Iraqis and protecting them from our enemies. So I get frustrated when I see our military constantly used as the only tool they have is to hammer things and make Trump and Hegseth and Kash Patel and others look like tough guys. So it's frustrating. Again, I think it goes back to a thorough misunderstanding of what our military is supposed to be used for.
We're speaking with Fred Wellman. He's candidate for Missouri's 2nd Congressional District in the Democratic primary. Let's talk about your political life. We've got just a few minutes left here. This seat, obviously the target of the Democratic Party. I'm wondering, though, if you have the backing right now of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, because that is considered crucial to mounting a competitive campaign here.
Well, I tell you, they don't get involved in primaries since we do have a primary, a late primary. I am familiar with the folks at the DCCC. I've worked in the past. Matter of fact, for my show that I have on the Minus Touch Network, I'll have Jason Crow on the show to talk about the shutdown just this week. But again, I'm launching my own campaign here as a Missourian. We came out of the gate yesterday strong. We have over 1,500 donors, individual donors, over a third of those right here from the state. We've got a moment here where Representative Wagner is very, very vulnerable. She has failed to do her duty. So what we're seeing is her numbers are underwater. We have a poll from May showing that she's got a higher disapproval than an approval rating, that she's never been more vulnerable. So while I'm thrilled that this is a nationally targeted race, I know the DCCC has targeted it. I know other organizations have targeted it. We see an opportunity. And then you throw in this redistricting, which is obvious that Ann Wagner supported. She put out a statement saying she supports redistricting. I'm very, very troubled by that. And I'm seeing and hearing a lot of my neighbors who are outright angry that Ann Wagner supports the idea of picking who votes for her instead of let us have our vote and pick her instead. So I feel very good. I think this race is going to put us on the map. I think people are paying attention to Missouri. One of the things I say a lot is, it's bad enough that the national parties and the media treats Missouri like flyover country. It's 1,000 times worse that Missouri 2's representative treats her own district like flyover country. So my intent is to build a grassroots movement here, take the energy that we see in the streets, canvass the entire district, and win this race right here in Missouri.
You are the former executive director of the Lincoln Project, and that is already being brought up as a liability for you. You took over after a sex scandal involving one of the group's founders. Critics are saying that that organization has lost its way. Do you regret being part of that organization?
I stepped up. I joined the Lincoln Project after the COVID pandemic. I don't know if you know, I actually ran a COVID field hospital in New York. Came back. My business that I'd had for 10 years was struggling. And most of our clients were nonprofits, so I closed it. I had met Steve Schmidt way back in Iraq in 2005 when he was working for the Vice President Cheney. He reached out to me and asked me to run the Veterans and Military Family Pillar in the 2020 election as they fought to try and convince those who had voted for Donald Trump in 2016 not to vote for him again. I did really good work. I'm proud of the people, the community we built, talking to veterans and military families about who Donald Trump is as a commander-in-chief. When I became executive director, you're right, I took over after the crisis. I was asked to step in, manage a serious crisis for an organization I'd been a part of. I managed that crisis. I launched the investigation. I never met John Weaver, for God's sake. So in the end, I served until 2020 September, just 9 months later, and I left after I'd completed my investigations. My time at the Lincoln Project is not something I'm terribly embarrassed about because we did our jobs. I did my job and I moved on. So I can't really comment on what they're doing these days. But in the end, we did a mission, which was to convince a lot of Americans that Donald Trump was unfit to be commander-in-chief. And I did my part for that.
Well, it is pretty early on. I'm sure we will speak with you again. We're out of time now, but I really appreciate you joining us this morning here on KMOX.
I'm a big fan. I went to KMOX when I was a teenager, growing up at Kirkwood High School. So it's a comfortable place to be back on again, and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Love hearing that. That is Fred Wellman, candidate for Missouri's 2nd Congressional District. And in fairness, we did reach out to Congresswoman Ann Wagner's office, requested an interview. We were told by a spokesman that she was not available. Fred Wellman faces one primary opponent, and Kirkwood resident Ryan Sheridan is running against Ann Wagner in the GOP primary. Coming up, the White House moved to pause or cancel billions of dollars in funding meant for blue states on the first day of the federal government shutdown. We're going to get the latest from CBS coming up. First, let's get you a quick check of the roads now with Frank Ladd. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're running into Valiant northbound on Highway 270 now from north of 55 up to an accident at Gravel. It's over on the right side, but it is partially nudging out into that right lane. And eastbound Highway 70, another accident at Air Flight. This one is over on the right shoulder, kind of nudging out into that right lane as well. That has you backed up to Lindbergh. 70 westbound remains closed at Cary. You're being ramped off and on the highway starting at Grand. I'm Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Sunny and warm today, a high of 89. Right now, sunshine 65 downtown at the Arch.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler. I want to tell you about 213 Complex. That is the best all-natural weight loss supplement on the marketplace, and you can pick it up at supplement superstores. Here's what it's doing for me. It'll do the same for you. Get the metabolism working 24/7 the way that it's supposed to. Helps me fight cravings, gives me that all-day focused energy with no crash at the end of the day, and lowers cortisol levels, which can help with sleep. So don't wait for the new year to get moving. If you want to get in better shape, do it now. Do it in advance of the holidays. Go to supplement superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They will knock 30% off the 213 Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Dave, congratulations on your 25th anniversary from BioBalance Health, Dr. Sullivan, and me personally. You have single-handedly helped us reach hundreds of new patients, both men and women, over the past 15 years. Since 2010, BioBalance has been treating men and women over the age of 40 with testosterone pellets and preventative medicine. BioBalance Health was the first medical hormone pellet practice in St. Louis. Now we are the most successful. Dave has not only been our partner at BioBalance Health, but also our patient and great friend. Thanks, Dave.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now, promo code RADIO.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meyer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
You're back with Total Information AM. The federal government shutdown entering its second day. We get an update now from CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman. Thanks for being with us this morning. One of the first questions that I have for you is, what are some of the tactics that you're already seeing the White House try to leverage to pressure Democrats?
Hey there. Well, the president has already posted this on social media overnight and this morning as well, essentially threatening to fire federal employees, saying that he will cut out waste and fraud, that Republicans should use this opportunity with this shutdown in play to essentially cut government spending. Now, this, of course, would be unprecedented. Typically, when you have a government shutdown, employees are furloughed, and then once the government shutdown is over, they get back pay, they're back on the job. But the president now threatening to fire workers. In fact, he says today on social media that he'll have a meeting with Russ Vought, that's the director of Office Management and Budget, to essentially talk about that, to talk about potentially firing federal employees, and saying that this could happen in the next 2 days or so.
We're hearing reports, too, that there are funding cuts planned for some major projects. What have we seen there so far?
Yeah, that's certainly something that we could potentially see, either funding projects cut or stalled. That's something that the president has talked about, the White House has talked about, in a way to put pressure on Democrats. Remember, Democrats wanted essentially funding for health care, an extension of Affordable Care Act tax subsidies. Republicans wanted a clean spending bill, a temporary spending bill, rather, that would fund the government until November 21st. And the White House looking to use every lever it can, whether it's stalling projects or potentially threatening to fire federal employees, to pressure Democrats to essentially end this shutdown.
Any negotiations or votes scheduled right now on that short-term spending plan?
Yeah, well, we know that talks are happening on Capitol Hill. Things are going to be stalled for the most part right now. From the White House perspective, we know that the president continues to try to put pressure on Democrats via social media, whether it's videos. We saw the vice president come out for the press briefing yesterday. That typically doesn't happen with a press secretary. So things are stalled for the most part right now here in Washington in terms of this government spending.
That is CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman. Thanks for your time this morning.
You bet.
It's now 8:28. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning and Electrical.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
It's coming. I cannot wait. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to Missouri December 1st, and you will be able to bet on all your favorite teams and all your favorite sports. Couldn't happen at a better time of the year. You got pro and college football, basketball, you've got hockey. It's all going on. And with FanDuel, all kinds of ways to get in on the action. You could bet the money line, over under, bet the spread. You could even bet the futures. How about MVP or who's going to win the championship or just make it to the playoffs? All of that is there for you to bet with FanDuel. Plus, with live betting, you can even pick which player is going to score the next touchdown and the touchdown after that. I love to live bet when the game is happening. It's a lot of fun. And with the downloaded FanDuel app on your phone, you can do it now and get used to it because the app is going to be available to use live in Missouri in December. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, play your game. 21 and over, present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
At California Psychics, we know that sometimes you can wake up thinking,
I don't know if I'm in the right career, or the right relationship.
but whatever your life dilemma, at California Psychics, we'll give you the guidance you need to feel certain about your life choices. And because we only connect you with the very best, we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-384-9393. That's 800-384-9393.
This is the take care of my family goal. This is the enjoy the life I've built goal. This is the set up a foundation goal. This is Busey, where your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth, through partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Looking for a place to call home without all the maintenance? Check out the Towns of Linneman Park, new townhomes by Lombardo, located in St. Peters. These new construction townhomes are located on the south side of 36494, east of Harvester Road, and offer floor plans featuring 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a loft, and 2-car attached garages. Community amenities include a clubhouse, pool, pickleball courts, dog park, and walking trails. Tour our newly decorated display and fall in love with your new townhome. Visit LombardoHomes.com for more information.
8:30, we owe you an update on the roads with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they've cleared the accident out of the way. All lanes are back open now. Highway 70 westbound at Cary. That's good news there. So we still have delays through downtown 70 westbound, but those should ease pretty quickly. You're delayed into downtown westbound, crossing the Musial Veterans Bridge on Highway 70 as well. Pockets of volume into downtown westbound Highway 5564 up to and crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. Headed northbound on Highway 270, still dealing with that crash at Gravoid, still over on the right shoulder, kind of nudging out into that right lane. That has you backed up to about Tesson Ferry. North of there, not bad, just a little off the pace now between 44 and Doherty Ferry. Headed east on Highway 70, still dealing with that crash. It is an Air Flight, still over on the right shoulder, kind of nudging out into that right lane. We're sponsored by Sachs Financial. Our next traffic update at 8:40. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hey, it's Jeff Sachs at Sachs Financial. Did you know that you have a pension and there are ways to maximize how you take it? That's right. It's called Social Security. Find out more at retiresafestl.com/guide. That's retiresafestl.com/guide.
Mostly sunny today, warm this afternoon, a high of 89, warming up now. Sunny skies, 67 downtown at the Arch. Dr. Jane Goodall, the conservationist renowned for chimpanzee research and environmental advocacy, has died at the age of 91. Dr. Goodall spoke as part of Washington University's Assembly Series in 2022, and she shared advice for those carrying on her legacy.
I think the best advice I can give is tell stories. Don't use scientific jargon. When I first had to give a talk, I was so nervous. It was at Yale University, I think. And so I made a vow at that time. When I talk, I will never read a speech.
Stop, Jane.
And I will never read a speech, and I will not say and I will not be afraid of a silence while I think of the next word. But it's telling stories. But you know what it is really? It's your heart's got to be in it. It's not just got to be something that you sort of feel people ought to hear. It's got to be something you feel people must hear, that it really means a lot, that if they listen to you, it will help them to make the world a better place. Every single individual makes an impact every single day. Thank you, but I want to end where my sort of career began. And I know there are quite a lot of people in this room, so I'm hoping for a rousing response to a chimpanzee greeting. So I will start, and there will be a rousing response for others who've studied chimpanzees, even in zoos. And so, isn't that a good way to end? Thank you, everybody.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. Consumer confidence fell last month to a 5-month low. Growing concerns about job prospects and the broader economy weighed on many Americans. Data released yesterday show the Conference Board's gauge of confidence decreased 3.6%, just below the median estimate in a Bloomberg survey of economists. But compared with earlier this year, consumer spending has proved resilient and is keeping the economy motoring ahead. Pfizer gets a reprieve from President Trump's long-awaited tariffs on the pharmaceutical industry. The company has agreed to slash some of its drug prices by up to 85% and sell directly to the American public. The deal is expected to be followed by similar agreements with other major drug makers. And Nike shares moved higher in after-hours trading. The sportswear giant's quarterly results indicate the company's turnaround efforts have started to pay off. Sales gains for Nike's wholesale and running shoe business topped forecasts. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission, $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-458-3124. 800-458-3124. 800-458-3124.
It's easy to feel apprehensive about getting screened for cancer or to just keep putting it off. But Siteman Cancer Center wants to remind you how important it is, especially after the age of 40. And they also want you to know how easy it is to get it done. GetScreenedNow.com has all the information you need on cancers like prostate, breast, colon, lung cancer. You can also find out your risk of disease by answering just a few simple questions. And then you can find one of the hundreds of screening locations in the area. Even if you're a little farther out, there is probably a place near you. You have heard this before, but catching cancer early dramatically increases the odds of a successful treatment, especially with so many cancers showing up earlier in life. So do not be intimidated. Siteman will make the process as simple as possible. GetScreenedNow.com. Do it for your family and friends who count on you. Do it for yourself. Visit GetScreenedNow.com.
Get this, 42% of baby boomers don't even know how much money they have in their nest egg. If you're not sure where you stand in terms of getting ready for retirement, you should be listening to the All Financial Hour with Steve All.
Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have?
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Sunny skies, 67 degrees at 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. The developer behind the proposal for a data center at the Armory site says it'll host 2 town halls this month to take the plan directly to the public. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley asking why striking machinists in Washington state were offered a better deal a few years ago compared to what St. Louis machinists are now being offered by aerospace giant Boeing. Coming up, a consumer protection attorney will tell you how to get your share of the Amazon Prime settlement. First, though, let's make sure you can stay out of trouble on the roads this morning. Frank Ladd is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, we continue to thin out now westbound on Highway 70. All those lanes back open now at Cary. That's the good news, but still some delays back towards downtown and crossing the Musial Veterans Bridge on westbound Highway 70. Headed northbound on Highway 55, not bad, approaching Highway 270 now. They got the accident out of the way, completely off the road. Northbound on Highway 270 at Gravois. North of there is where you see your heavier pockets from about 44 up through Highway 64. And still busy approaching the earlier accident eastbound on Highway 70. It's at Airflight. The vehicle is off the road. Lots of emergency vehicles are there on the shoulder as well. So folks are giving them a little bit of space. That has you backed up to about Lindbergh. We're sponsored by the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. I'm Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers, an important decision, and should not be based solely on advertising.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we'll have mostly sunny skies today, maybe a few clouds. Warm this afternoon. We're expecting a high of 89. Clear and warm tonight with a low around 65, and then sunny and warm again tomorrow with a high near 90. We have sunny skies, 69 degrees in Florissant, it's 64 in St. Peter, 67 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. Thanks so much for listening to Total Information AM this morning here on KMOX. You may have heard about the massive payout that Amazon has agreed to settle allegations that the company coerced millions of consumers into enrolling in Prime subscriptions, then made those agreements really difficult to cancel. Law professor and consumer protection attorney Danny Karen is author of the upcoming book, Your Lovable Lawyer's Guide to Legal Wellness, Fighting Back Against a World That's Out to Cheat You. And he joins me this morning here on KMOX. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. Good morning to you.
Okay, so when we look at this Amazon settlement, Who is eligible according to that settlement with the Federal Trade Commission?
Going to be Amazon Prime subscribers. Thing is, not all Amazon Prime subscribers are eligible. It's only those who are deceived into signing up for the service and for whom it was made difficult to unsubscribe. Could be a little bit elusive.
How do you prove that as a consumer?
Well, the nice thing is that you don't really have to. The government, as one of the settlement terms, is requiring Amazon to find out those people it deceived and to give them automatic money back. That's the first round of payments. If those payments are less than $1 billion, a second round initiates pursuant to a claims process, and that's where folks get claims forms. You got to get them, you got to read them, you got to understand them, and you got to know that something wrong happened to you, and that's the elusive part in my mind.
Okay, so the first group get those automatic payments, and that's based, I guess, on what the company can determine. And then how does that second group submit a claim? What kind of things do people need to have in hand to show that they were caught in this?
That's what's really elusive to me. The claims process can really be difficult sometimes, and we as class action lawyers spend a lot of time trying to make it simple and understandable, trying to make it in plain English so people can understand their claims, complete their claims, and get them in so they can get their money back, which in this case would be around $51. It's $51 for the first round automatically, and around the same for the second. So the settlement agreement describes. But to your point, how do you know? I mean, according to the second round, you need to have signed up pursuant to Prime's Universal Prime Decision page, or its Shipping Option Select page, or its Prime Video Enrollment Flow, or its single page checkout. What the heck are those?
Right.
If I got a claim and I was asked to identify whether I signed up that way, I wouldn't have any idea. So I don't know what that claim form is going to look like. It hasn't issued yet. But when it does, I think it's going to be a lot of headaches.
Will it be easier for people to prove the part where they can say, hey, I tried to get out of this Prime membership and I couldn't do it?
Well, the first phase is going to be automatic, so nobody has to prove anything. But as it concerns the second phase, if you even get to that discussion, you need to have demonstrated that you signed up pursuant to one of those channels. And again, that takes us back to kind of ground zero. How do you do that as a consumer? I don't even know what the Prime Video Enrollment Flow is. And I don't even know how I signed up, and I've been a Prime member for years.
Yeah, I guess if you didn't take screenshots, how do you prove it? The other question I have about this is if this is going to be ripe for scams, because it's my understanding that there's going to be a third-party claims administrator that is going to reach out to some of these consumers. How in the world do you know that that's legitimate as someone, who may want to take advantage of this?
Well, the fraud issue works in a couple of ways. First, on the claimant end, it's really scary out there as a consumer to try to decipher whether a claim is legit or full of it. You often don't know. And in a lot of these cases that are data privacy claims or breach of privacy claims, or often consumer fraud claims, of course, this one, you don't want to compound the fraud by stepping into a fraudulent claim and then getting, stung again. So it's really tough. So we try to build in through cooperation with the claims administration companies, and there's a big industry out there that does this sort of thing, administering class action claims, processes that will give consumers peace of mind. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm going through that process and exercise right now, and we're trying our best. But then when the claim comes in, the claims administrator has to pay mind to whether it's a fraudulent claim, because the defendant is worried about paying money to folks who don't deserve it. So there's a fraud concern on that end of the process too. And the claims administrator has to really, really be careful and has protocols in place to ensure as best possible that the claims submitted and received aren't fraudulent on the receiving end.
I'm sure there's people out there right now thinking, is this really worth all of my time if I'm not in that automatic payment group to do all this work to get $51 possibly?
Yeah, that's obviously a concern. We class action lawyers pay mind to, because you don't want to be doing a whole lot of something for nothing. It's not about just getting a fee. It's about doing good and getting paid for having done good. Because you can get paid for lots of things, but if you want to make a difference, you become a class action lawyer. $51, to my mind, it's worth it. Now you're on your slippery slope. How about 50? How about 45? How about 40? How about 10? How about 5? Then people wonder, is it really worth it? And then is it worth it economically? What about an 18-cent settlement? It costs you 75 cents to send it out. Then you're upside down. So there are processes available to account for that. One of the main one is called Cypre. It's Norman French for as near as possible. It derives from trust law, and it means you give the money to a charity that has a relationship to the case, so that you're efficiently putting the money to a better use than giving it back to the bad guys.
Do settlements like this actually serve to change corporate behavior?
I guess it depends on the corporation. The goal, it's supposed to be, there are multiple goals: compensation, deterrence, punishment. You hope that a settlement like this will deter other big tech companies from doing similar wrongs. But as we've seen in the Google trials and the Facebook trials, companies will do what they want to do because often it's more profitable to cheat and get caught than to never cheat at all.
That is law professor, consumer protection attorney Danny Karen joining us this morning here on KMOX. Thanks for your time.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And his upcoming book is Your Lovable Lawyer's Guide to Legal Wellness, Fighting Back Against a World That Is Out to Cheat You. Coming up next, I'm going to be joined by Kat Neville of Explore St. Louis. We're going to look at the latest international flight that's going to be coming into St. Louis. Plus, will the government shutdown impact St. Louis tourism?
Rally House, shop every team in town, college and pro. Come on, it's time to go.
Mizzou fans, don't miss out. Rally House Chesterfield is hosting Kevin Coleman Jr. Friday, October 3rd from 4 to 5 p.m.
Cardinals, Blues, Missouri State, Tigers, Billikens, don't be late. Rally House, Rally House. It's your city, it's your house, it's a Rally House.
Level up your fandom in-store or online at rallyhouse.com.
It's Tom Ackerman. It's October, and that means Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has the $5,000 sweepstakes underway again. If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now and only for this month for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of October to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Don't wait until Halloween. You'll be busy that day and you'll forget. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter. The $5,000 sweepstakes at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Remember, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is the one with the red ribbon, the one that began in 1926, the genuine, the original.
Red Kingdom is back at FanDuel Sports Network Live in Ballpark Village. See every game on the largest screen in town. Don't forget about the $25 buckets, $5 cocktails, and the best tailgate food around. Grab your friends along with KMOX and huddle up for the games at the best watch party in town. If you can't make it, but don't want to miss a down, listen to the Chiefs on KMOX or KMOX on the Odyssey app. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Well, welcome back to Total Information AM here on KMOX. It has been way too long since we have had Kat Neville of Explore St. Louis in studio to talk about all the great places to visit in the St. Louis and surrounding region and some big headlines that we have to talk about this week that really continues to put St. Louis on that international map. And that's a new flight that's going to be going directly from Lambert to London.
That's exactly right. So Lambert to London Heathrow 4 times a week starting in April. And number one, this is amazing. It's been something like 20 years since we've had a direct flight to London Heathrow Airport. It comes on the heels of Lufthansa announcing that it's expanding its service into Frankfurt. And, you know, number one, it shows the faith that these airports, that these airlines have in the business that they can generate by investing in having these flights, but also beyond being able to get directly to London, which is like an 8-9 hour flight. The London Heathrow connection through British Airways can take you to over 200 destinations across the globe. So now, rather than having, another, stopover in some other hub, now you can go, if you're going not just to London, but to somewhere else on the planet, you can go straight from St. Louis to London and then connect out. So it's a tremendous opportunity for St. Louis. And the economic impact for the region, it's estimated that between $50 and $100 million of annual economic impact is driven through these types of international routes. Because, you and I might think of it from a leisure perspective, like, ooh, I can go on a vacation. I can't wait. But it really also It helps to foster connections through business and investment in the St. Louis region.
Well, and I can imagine too that if someone is closer to here than, for example, O'Hare, then it will draw people to St. Louis.
Exactly right. And so when we're looking at how to market this, that is one of our tactics. We're well aware that there obviously is a direct flight to London from Chicago, but you might not want to have to go to Chicago. So say you live in Iowa, say you live in Kansas, say you live on the other side of Missouri. You don't necessarily want to fly and go and connect through Chicago and then go out. It's much easier and less expensive to come to St. Louis and fly out from Lambert. So that is something that we are certainly focused on. And in terms of the timing of this, it's coming at just a really great opportunity point for St. Louis from a tourism perspective, because Route 66 obviously is celebrating its 100th year next year. And if you didn't know that, you're going to hear all about it. But European travelers love Route 66. It is Americana. They adore it. So being able to come straight to St. Louis, which was is one of the biggest stops along the route, I mean, that's ideal. So we anticipate that lots of folks are going to be taking advantage of that. Obviously, it's also FIFA next year. It's the America 250 next year. So lots of people are going to be coming. But we also have international events, conventions, the Vex Robotics competition that we talked about. There are families that are going to be coming from across the world to compete here in St. Louis next April. And this flight is timed perfectly to service those folks.
Yeah, I can't imagine with the popularity of those Lufthansa flights. I mean, they've been practically full.
Yes.
For all of their flights. They've had great capacity. So I would imagine that we would see the same thing with these British Airways flights.
Absolutely.
Let's turn to something that's happening domestically that we are watching. We're in the midst of a government shutdown. We're just in the second day. So obviously we don't know, how long this will extend. And there are some federal sites that are staying open. But ultimately, when we have something like this happen, how does it affect tourism? For example, if some of our national sites close here in St. Louis?
Well, I mean, obviously, Gateway Arch National Park is a national park. So the Arch, unfortunately, is closed. The old courthouse is closed, but the river boats at the Arch are operating, and so is the helicopter. And just FYI, brand new, the folks at Big Muddy are also now renting bikes down on the riverfront. So you can still gaze upon the Arch from the exterior if you are a visitor, but you are not able to go up. Now, if you've pre-purchased a ticket, that will be automatically refunded to you. But it does have an impact for folks who, if this is a bucket list experience for them, they want to come to St. Louis and they want to go up in the Arch, which, I mean, obviously that's something that you want to do when you come to the Gateway City. It's something that you're not going to be able to enjoy until everything reopens.
Does that have a ripple effect, good or bad, on other attractions in the area?
I think that's an interesting question, and I don't have data to back that up. I mean, instinctively, I would say, when you come to St. Louis, you don't just go to the Arch. There are a lot of other things that you're doing. You go to City Museum, you go to the Magic House, you walk Forest Park, go to the Art Museum, the zoo. There are so many different ways to enjoy and get connected with St. Louis. If you can't go up in the Arch, I'm sure it's deeply disappointing to people who were hoping to do that. But St. Louis delivers a tremendous experience. No matter how you kind of connect with all the different things that you can do here in the St. Louis region. So, and also it's also worth noting for folks who are listening, the Ulysses S. Grant historic site is also currently closed.
We'll just have to invite people back, right?
Absolutely.
After the shutdown, you just got to come back to St. Louis for the Arch. All right, Kat, so good to see you. And we'll talk to you again next month.
I look forward to it.
This is Total Information AM here on KMOX.
Day 2 of the government shutdown happening now, and thousands of federal layoffs are on the horizon. We're going to talk to Major Garrett today about that and what's to come. Also, Rockwood School District is 1 month into their cell phone ban. How's it going and what can we learn? All that and more on the Chris and Amy Show, which gets started right after the news on KMOX.
There are times when you can just do it yourself or have a friend help you out. And then there are times when you need an expert. And selling your home is one of those times. This is Debbie Monterey. And I say this because your home is probably the most expensive thing that you own. So when you're selling your home, you want to get the most money for it. You don't want to make any mistakes. You need an expert, and you need Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria Liu will sell your home. She guarantees it in writing, or she'll buy it herself so you know your home is sold. But Gloria will also guarantee to sell your home for 100% of market value, or she'll pay you the difference. That is how confident Gloria Liu is that she will sell your home at your price and time frame. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. Give her a call because you probably have questions. How does this work? What do I do? Should I repaint my kitchen? Etc. She is at 314-325-6888, or you can find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. It's Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, gloriahasthebuyers.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Oh, let's see if things are winding down at all on the roads. Frank Ladd is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, I'm watching them work with this accident eastbound on Highway 70 at Airflight just before Natural Bridge. The vehicle's off the road on the median there, and they've got the right shoulder block, and now they've got a tow truck there with a big crane on it to try to get the car off the side of the road. So you've got that right lane block that you're backed up now to Lindbergh eastbound on Highway 70. Headed northbound on Highway 270, your normal pockets of volume at Big Bend up to about Doherty Ferry, thinning out headed towards Manchester Road. We've thinned out through downtown St. Louis after they got that crash out of the way, westbound Highway 70 at Cary. I'm Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It is 9 o'clock, and right now we do have sunshine in downtown St. Louis. Currently, it is 70 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterey. It is day 2 of the government shutdown, still no deal. Democrats say they're trying to stop a GOP spending plan that would raise healthcare costs for millions of Americans. Some Republicans insist Democrats are holding up government for healthcare protections for illegal immigrants, which is not allowed by law.
Out in the House won't be back until next week, but the Senate plans to hold another vote on government funding Friday. And CBS News has learned that if that funding vote fails on a clean